Now we're live. Okay, how's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And we've got a full house today. Almost. We had a couple of people cancel, but that's cool. All the cool cats are here. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So starting with Peter. Who are you, Peter? Crisis? What are you doing here? What do you do here?
I'm known as Crisis with a K throughout the comic-loving internet. I've been writing on crushingcrisis.com for over 24 years, where there is guides to the vast majority of how to collect the Marvel Universe and a bunch of DC and Indie too. And I am always here on Near Mint Condition to rumble, and I'm so excited to rumble with some new friends today, Omar.
I am too. I am as well. And then to his right is our buddy from the Marvel Epic Podcast.
That's the Epic Marvel Podcast, and yeah, happy to be here.
Already correct. Go on.
As usual, always a pleasure to be a part of this group. I am also excited to learn a little bit more about some new friends and see what their picks are. Super excited to see what everybody's choices are here today.
And this is Curtis's Epic Collection Facebook group too. He runs a wonderful Epic group. Very friendly. All right, and making his first. This is the first time you've been on my channel, brother. Robbie, rockin' Robbie, man, what's up,
dude? What's up? Yeah, rockin' Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, home of the weekly comic book review and PCP movie night. We talk about movies, comics, pop culture, a whole lot more. And I'm Uncanny Omar's new best friend. So, what's up, everybody? Station, pop, pop, boom.
I love it. And making her return because she's had such a busy summer, just traveling the country, right? Not the world.
Yeah, luckily. I mean,
going to all kinds of cool events and things. And I think you're going to be at the experience again, right? You're doing the X-Men experience. Is that right?
Yeah, this will be my first time checking it out, but I am a cast member, so it's going to be really fun.
Are you, let me guess, Cyclops?
Yeah, absolutely. It's me. To me, my X-Men.
Class. Who are you, young lady?
I'm going to be their Goblin Queen. So I'll be there as Madeline Pryor, the X-Men 97 outfit. I've been working on putting it together, and I've got like 2 weeks left, but it's looking really good, and I'm so excited to be a part of Uncanny. I think it's going to be a blast.
Awesome. And where can people find you when you're not hanging out here or at the Uncanny experience?
Yes. So I am Oddfell on pretty much everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, all of that. On Twitter, it's a 0 instead of an O, but everywhere else it should just be a normal O. I do twin statue unboxings on YouTube and then cosplay everywhere else.
Excellent. And to her right is somebody equally as lovely. Who are you, sir?
Lars Pearson, publisher and editor-in-chief of Mad Norwegian Press, formerly of Wizard Magazine, and it's a great pleasure to be here. The tone of these Evergreen shows is just so different from what we normally do. The last time I was on with, Omar and Peter and the rest, it was just kind of a soothing, affirming experience going through the Marvel catalog, whereas, you get the impression that this is more intended as sort of a Mad Max affair, a Hunger Games affair. And so, Peter, could you not, as I think you're in charge of the makeup, could you not have all sent us cans of silver spray paint that I could spray about my mouth and scream,
Oddfell and I are always stumping for the whole panel to show up in some kind of full drag or full cosplay.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I got an X-Men shirt on, guys. This is as good
I
as
would
it gets.
applaud.
Thank you. I went to my closet to get this out.
And quickly, since Jess couldn't be here, in solidarity, I have my dupe, my stuffed dupe. To represent Jess, because Jess, we wish you were here. When we think of a green, translucent, charming but insane metrosexual, we think of you.
A really good shout out to our buddy Jess, and making their first time. I guess both of you are here for the first time, Sean and Tyler. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourselves. Sean, who are you, buddy, and where do you reside on the internet?
So I'm Sean from the Comics Pals. I am very, very excited to be here. We actually just had Omar on a few weeks ago. We are a channel that talks about comics, of course. We talk about the industry, the big, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Thursdays and Saturdays we go live. And I got to say, I'm a huge fan of the Evergreen shows here. And I know most of your faces, except for the new ones. So hello to you. And I am very excited to butt heads lovingly about Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
That's very well put. Welcome aboard, man. And Tyler, tell us about yourself, man.
Hello, I'm Tyler. I'm also on the Comics Pals with Sean. We do this a lot, so this is how I see Sean a lot. So it's good to see some different faces. And I gotta say, it's so good to not have to produce the show. I just get to be on it for once. I'm like, my stress levels are so down. It's so good. This is exciting for me. So I'm excited to talk about some Marvel stuff.
It was really fun to be on your show and on Robbie's show because I thought, oh yeah, I don't have to do anything. It's just sit back and
it's
answer
so good.
questions. And if I look like an ass, then it's on them because they invited me on. It's not my fault. But no, I had a good time. Seriously. So thank you guys for being here. And last but not least,
I am Larry from Larry's Library. That's my channel, and I review graphic novels and comics. I have top 10s. I do unboxings. So, yeah. I have been reading Marvel Comics for about 45 years. So, I feel like I have lived in it. So, there we go.
excellent. Well, wait, Larry, out of curiosity, before we get started, what is the best era of Marvel Comics for you? If you were given a decade, what's the best decade?
That would be probably from the about 1978 through 1987.
So not even 10 years,
Roughly.
9 years. Okay, interesting.
I could go 10, but
1978. Why 1978 in particular? What happened in 1978?
I don't know. It just seems like the late 70s is the stuff I was drawn to the most. You know, you had Jim Starlin coming in there strong,
Mhm.
and the writer editor era started around there, I think. You know, and you had, yeah, and it just got better and better as it went into 1980 and then into the 80s. And I think by the time I got to the late 80s, it was kind of getting a little bit too much. You know, it just to me, because that's the era that I grew up reading was, you know, right there.
Okay.
And I feel like when with the bad things people think about the 90s really started in the late 80s. You know? But
I don't see anything wrong with the 90s or 80s. It's all one big happy story. That
there's great stuff in all the years, really, but that's my favorite, I'd say. So
okay. All right, Peter. What are we gonna do first?
Let's load up our beautiful presentation so I can explain. The chat is already all abuzz. What is an evergreen? What counts for an event? What are the rules of engagement? Let's outline it all and then get underway.
All right, excellent. So I assume you want me to go to the next slide. There's our
my friend.
All right, there we go. What is
All
an
right,
evergreen
so
mean?
for those of you who are new here, what does evergreen mean? Why do we do this? About a year ago, Marvel announced that they would start having an evergreen series of trade paperbacks that they would always keep in print. Evergreen is just another way to refer to a book that's always in print, where a publisher reprints the book as soon as it reaches a low stock level at the distributor. DC's famous for this, Marvel not so much. That got us all thinking, what else should Marvel make evergreen? And so we assemble every month, sometimes to talk about Marvel, sometimes DC or indie, to talk about what Marvel should always keep in print. They have epics and omnibuses that go back to print all the time, but none of them are officially evergreen, meaning they will be on the shelf forever like Watchmen is. And so we are trying to make some bold suggestions to Marvel of what that evergreen library ought to consist of.
Okay. And the next slide.
So for this, we have a special definition of what is an event. For the purposes of this show, we had to draw some kind of line, or we would have just got people picking any 2-issue storyline from some random comic book. So the loose definition we gave is a crossover or event miniseries storyline that includes characters from more than one line. You will see in the 9 disparate picks that people definitely put this up for interpretation a little bit, but this was the extent of the direction that everyone got. So nobody could pick just the Dark Phoenix saga. There really were no participants outside of X-Men. It only existed in that one book. So we're looking for things that are a little bit broader than that to count as an event.
Yes, like a member of Congress writing a very vague law. I almost feel like, Peter tailored this to interpret, that it could be interpreted in many different ways for maximum chaos.
Exactly.
I'm just glad the Dark Phoenix saga cannot be included in there. Thank you for that. Because I know
Odell might have found a way. You don't know.
She
You didn't want to lose to it?
Not yet. Okay, what are the rules? What are the rules?
If you've seen this before, you know what we're going to do. Each one of us pick 3 Marvel events that should have an evergreen oversized collection. Not every Marvel event has been an omnibus, but the vast majority have at least had an oversized hardcover. So that's the criteria we use this time, although we'd love to see them all as omnibuses. And this is going to have 3 rounds of discussion. We're going to give an initial pitch. Since there's so many of us, we're going to try to keep it to 30 seconds per book. I don't know how brutal Omar is going to be with the cutoff there and pulling the off.
I'm ready. I'm ready to mute some mics.
Okay.
If you agree with me, then we're cool.
It'll be just like a presidential debate. So then we'll also have a full panel debate in the middle and then some final voting. Only 10 of the books will make the list out of a possible total of 27 if no one had any repeats.
Wow. All right. So what is first here?
It actually is me.
All right,
I
Peter.
didn't think about how I'd be talking for 10 minutes straight here. Okay, here we go. My first 30 minutes. These are my books. They say you never stop loving your first love. And that is the case for me with Atlantis Attacks. I got New Mutants Annual 5 in my Sears Holiday Wish Book order in the year and fell in love. The why of me falling in love is why this is on my list. This was a rare event that involved almost the entire Marvel line. Everybody's annuals were in the event, but every book got to have its own standalone piece of the story that progressed through the books, plus a backup that linked them all. I just think it's cool. It's epic. It ties everybody together, but we get to see characters in their own art and their own kind of universe. It's something DC does really well in annuals, much better than Marvel. But for me, this is kind of like the pinnacle of that late 80s period Larry loves before Marvel gets totally stupid, but it's a little bit stupid.
Oh, this is so stupid. Go on, though. Go on.
Okay. Number 2. I love cosmic stories, but too often at Marvel, I think Marvel cosmic stories, they just feel like small. They don't get big enough. Some people might call that focus, but I want galaxy spanning, empire clashing, Game of Thrones level intrigue in my cosmic stories. And that is what War of Kings delivers. The Shi'ar, the Inhumans, the X-Men, the Guardians of the Galaxy, it all spins out of so many different plots that were happening in all of their individual threads. They kind of get woven together in the most surprising way, and it's an event that kind of like rocks all of space and continues the thread that started with Annihilation and runs all the way to the beginning of Marvel. Now that is my favorite kind of event comic, and I love the book. Fantastic artwork.
Okay,
all right.
and in another word, you love war, apparently.
I love war.
Okay.
I want to have the most lethal evergreen list that we've ever had. If Marvel has ever done one event in the past decade that just, I get like good feelings tingling through my body every time I think about it, it's War of the Realms. And it's not that just that it capped like Aaron's 6-year run on Thor. It's not just that it was drawn by Russell Dodderman. It was because it was big. It was fun. The plot had heft, but it wasn't like vampires marauding through every city on Earth. There was heft and there was focus. There was a believable scope so that everybody from Daredevil and Punisher all the way up through the Guardians of the Galaxy could get involved. So there's small battles and big ones too. The main books were outstanding. Every tie-in was good fun. I think if you're looking for a great Marvel event, there's really not much more you could ask for from a modern Marvel event.
Awesome. And at this part, we honor people that talk, and we will save our remarks for the next round. So next up is, because I have some strong thoughts already. Larry, talk to me, buddy. 45 years of reading Marvel history, and this is the best you could come up with? I'm just kidding. That was wrong.
There was a lot to choose from.
Do go on, sir.
I think first up, Secret Wars, I think is would have to be considered before anything because it arguably started the events. Now, you could damn them for that, or you could praise it because not everyone likes crossovers, right? You might not be watching this show if you did, though, but if you didn't like it. But so that started the whole thing, really. Even though it didn't really cross over directly, a lot of the crossovers were sort of between one panel to the next, but it did have really long-lasting effects, especially for Spider-Man, of course, with the black costume, and the Thing. I think you could go with that. But you had incredible art by Mike Zeck. This has it all, and it started it all. And just for historical purposes, it has to be evergreen. Now, with Annihilation, when did that come out? I got notes here. Let's see.
2000.
Annihilation was 2006. Yeah. And this one, I feel like it revitalized the whole cosmic side of Marvel for a new generation. And I love what they did with Annihilus, making him a bigger villain than he's ever been before, really. And it had great art throughout. It brought back a lot of characters that were sidelined for years and years. it was kind of like that era's Infinity Gauntlet in many ways, I think. And so I think that Annihilation Conquest is actually even better, but I feel like you have to have this one evergreen before we can talk about Conquest. And then House of M, of course, is Brian Michael Bendis. I won't say at his finest, because his finest is probably Daredevil and Ultimate Spider-Man. But with Bendis, he's hot or cold with a lot of people. I'm a big fan of Bendis, unabashed fan. But when he's hot, he's really hot, I think. And this was one of them. House of M made good on the Scarlet Witch's No More Mutants that happened in, I think, Avengers Disassembled. And here we explore that world where humans are just the downtrodden race, and the mutants are in control. And yeah, I thought it was great. And I think that Bendis is handling of Wolverine here, because this really is a Wolverine-centric story, at least for the main mini. It is the 8 issues there is really underrated, and it kind of makes me think he should have done a full-on Wolverine series. I mean, he came close a few times, but yeah, I thought especially issue 3 of the original mini, I think is worth the cost of the entire omnibus. Wolverine remembering everything and diving off the side of the helicarrier. I will never forget that. And the art here is by, is it Olivier Coipel? Is that how you say it?
Dang, look at you, Larry. Yeah.
That art is fantastic and has to be seen in oversized format. I mean, it's gorgeous. So the core 8 issues is enough to recommend this, I think.
Okay. Thanks for playing, Larry. Sean, talk to me, Sean.
All right.
You like secrets and wars.
I like secrets, and like Peter, I like wars. So I'm going to get into it with Civil War first. Okay. Subjectively, Civil War is the greatest comic book event of all time. It is the reason that I am here. It sees some of the best creators from that era, the 2000s era of Marvel, at the height of their powers, and it challenged my mind to think about how a world with superheroes would actually be impacted by presenting 2 sides of a valid argument about the role powered people should play in society. It takes the statement of, with great power comes great responsibility, and it applies it to the whole Marvel universe, and the results are explosive, jaw-dropping, and unforgettable. Okay, so I'm a big fan, so that's my subjective side. But objectively, it's one of the most read events ever, has a video game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, and a movie based on it, and has more big, memorable moments than arguably any event ever. To understand Marvel Comics in the 2000s and 10s, you must read Civil War.
Okay, next, Secret Wars.
All right. So for Secret Wars 2015, I love the original, but I got to go with 2015 by Jonathan Hickman and Asad Ribic, because Secret Wars is simultaneously a cap-off to years worth of storytelling by Hickman and Avengers Comics, a new status quo that introduced a sandbox for all of Marvel's creators to play in called Battleworld, the introduction of Miles Morales to 616 Marvel's characters, and ending to the Ultimate Universe line of comics until the new one that just dropped, a stealth finale to Hickman's Fantastic Four run, and arguably the greatest Doctor Doom story of all time. This event is all hits, no misses, and frankly, if you decided that Marvel continuity ends here for you, I wouldn't really even be able to argue, because it functions as close to the prior era of Marvel as a whole. It's definitive, undisputed, peak Marvel storytelling from a writing and art standpoint, and especially with the Secret Wars film on the horizon, there is no good reason why this book should not always be on the stands.
Okay, and tell me why Secret Invasion.
I got you. Who can you trust? Me, when I tell you that Secret Invasion should be published in perpetuity. Another 2000s Marvel event that has been adapted multiple times, features a huge cast that represents this era very well, is a linchpin story in the Bendis era of Marvel, and is one of the definitive stories featuring Marvel's premier alien race, the Skrulls. And on top of all of that, we get Leinil Francis Yu at the top of his game on art. What reason is there for this not to be evergreen? Come on.
Okay. All right. Those are some well thought out thoughts. Good on you, Sean. Welcome to the party. Curtis, what's going on?
Can I just say that, Sean, your presentation was absolutely amazing, and it's going to be hard to follow up.
Hey, don't butter him up
Thank you
right now.
so
What are you
much.
doing? What are you
I
doing?
didn't prepare. I'm gonna make up what I'm saying here on the spot here. I did not prepare the same way as Sean did. So, but I will
Okay.
say my 3 picks are for different audiences. I think Infinity Gauntlet really needs to be up on the list because it is just the definitive event of Marvel. It was the one, even though Secret Wars was the first, Infinity Gauntlet is the one that made events a thing. It was a huge deal. And for just the average reader who just wants to see all the characters in one place, to the longtime Marvel fans, like this is just great. Such a great story. Thanos in his prime, and I don't know, somebody's barfing on the screen there, and
That's
I think.
Tyler, our buddy Tyler.
I think he's
Oh,
doing,
Tyler, he was on the show the other
He
the other
hates
week.
Infinity
yeah,
Gauntlet.
he's so
Tyler, come
excited
on.
to just vote for Infinity Gauntlet that it's making him, he can't
But
contain
look,
it.
look.
Yeah.
Even
Hold on,
more.
let's not
There
interrupt
we
the
go.
opening.
We got Warren. I got Warren on my side. Okay, so the second one is Age of Apocalypse. And I think that even if people are not familiar with X-Men, this is such a great story. It has a beginning and an end, especially if you have the Omni that includes the Legion Quest setup. I just love everything about this event. All of them, the stories that have their own paths that all dovetail at the end to create a good solid finish. And a lot of people don't like this because it's the 90s. Whatever, this is still great stuff. Solid creators, amazing story, a lot of fun.
This
And
is the next one's the most important one. Which version of Spider-Verse are you wanting to make evergreen?
which version?
Well,
The
because
original one, the first one.
Well, the oversized hardcover is a mess. It is known as one of the worst mapping in collected editions history. So what you want to do is
So
put omnibus up there.
I see what I see what you're saying. So I'm not playing this by any specific format.
Oh, so you didn't come ready. Okay.
It as long as the story is there, it could be epic collection, complete collection. It can be a digest size, omni, doesn't matter. We're talking about whether or not this story itself is in print. So the mapping is not part of the question here.
Oh, interesting.
The Spider-Verse story is just it's a fun story for those who really love Spider-Man, but also the new readers, the new generation of fans who love Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. I think that this is the Spider-Man story for the current generation, and it should stay in print, especially because of the movies that have come out. And I just, this story captured me before I got tired of multiverse stuff, and I still like this one because of it. I love alternate versions of characters, and this one does it, I think, really, really well.
Okay. Thank you so much for your thoughts, Curtis. Tyler, first time playing. Let's see how well you do.
Hello. All right.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
God.
be
Yeah, this looks awesome.
I
Sorry.
know. I'm gonna jump scare some people with these. Yeah. So let's talk about Siege. We'll get to Dark Web later. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Siege is Bendis and Coipel, who also did House of M. So good pick, Larry. This is pretty much the culmination of so much that I loved about Bendis's run on Avengers. With this, being a culmination of like the Century story, the stuff that he was telling with all during Dark Reign, which was a continuation of Secret Invasion. There's just so much that culminates here and just a giant crescendo that deals with a lot of Ares' guts over everyone. That I just love this book. This is a great thing. Some really good Loki in here as well, and kind of the reformation of the Trinity at Marvel after years of them not really being together. Original Sin. Original Sin's kind of a personal favorite for me. Original Sin's Jason Aaron, Mike Deodato. I love this book because it really is just a lot of weird characters teaming up. Like I think like Rocket Raccoon teams up with Punisher, teams up with Winter Soldier, trying to figure out this mystery in space regarding the death of Uatu the Watcher. It has a lot of Nick Fury in it, and it kind of retcons some Nick Fury stuff, which is fine. That's fine. But it really is just a fun story that has some great Orb appearances. And like Jason Aaron, I'm a huge fan of the Orb. So I was excited to talk about this one. R.I.P. Uatu though. Is he back yet? I don't even know what's going on with him.
Yes.
He is. Okay, cool. Dark Web. This is the omnibus isn't even out yet, so I really kind of gamed the system on this one. I don't have much to say about Dark Web other than it's dumb fun. Do I think it's great? I don't know. Do I think it's fun? Yes, I do. It has some great Spider-Man in it with the story is essentially Madeline Pryor, Chasm, who is Ben Reilly, and his wife, who is now Hollow's Eve, kind of trying to get revenge on some of the people that have wronged them. This deals with Spider-Man fighting Ben Reilly, who's now in this awesome Chasm costume, which is like one of the coolest redesigns of a costume that I've seen in recent memory. And it also brings back Havoc wearing the Goblin Prince costume for a little bit. So you got Himbo Havoc there, which I was a big fan of. He should wear that just normally, I think. I think that would work out for him as a character, probably. And Venom, this one, okay, Venom kind of gets shoot in here towards the end. But if you like symbiotes, they're in here as well. So I just think it's fun. Ed McGuinness does some of it too. So good looking book.
All right. See, Lars, he understood the assignment. He came ready.
How dare you?
All right.
Maybe
You're not up
I
yet.
understood it correctly and no one else.
Hey, shut up. You're not up yet. Oddfell, ladies first. Go ahead.
Hi.
Oh my god. Oh.
All right.
I like that first pick there.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to add a whole lot to Spider-Verse because we did already talk about it, but I will say this is the event that made me start reading Marvel in the first place. Because as someone who at the time was mostly reading DC, seeing a ton of new flashy characters really got to me. I know some of them weren't technically introduced in Spider-Verse, like I think Silk is from Original Sin. But characters like Silk and Spider-Gwen and Spider-Noir and Spider-Punk all being kind of in the forefront for an arc and a character was very cool to see. I think it's definitely really good for the teen and young adult market, especially with movies being made. And I think this is just one that would be really, really smart for them to keep evergreen because it's just really fun. It's a really fun team up. So Onslaught. I genuinely, this is so camp, but I love it. I genuinely think it should be evergreen because to my research, I think this is the first universe-ending event for Marvel, one that was supposed to end what we knew and there was going to be a full reset. Heroes Reborn didn't hit well, but that's not Onslaught's fault. And I think that for being the first big, massive, cataclysmic event, a lot of really cool stuff happens in this. There's lots of really iconic moments. I really, really think that season 2 of X-Men 97 is going to start at least hinting about this because season 1 already started hinting about this. And overall, I just think Onslaught's, it's camp, it's pinnacle 90s schlock, but it's fun. And I think that it deserves to be on an evergreen list. And then lastly is Empire. I don't usually really click with Cosmic, but I had so much fun with this story. I really liked all the things it introduced and all the things that we see in the world state afterwards. It's really hard for me to tiptoe around and not give spoilers for Empire because so many of the moments that I like are spoilers for it, so I will try my best. But in general, I just feel like it tweaked the status quo in a really interesting way. I found the Kultati to be very interesting and very terrifying. A couple of the one-shots that came out right after this were just immaculate. Like Immortal She-Hulk was a 10 out of 10 one-shot. And overall, I thought it was really, really cool seeing the Kree and Skrull finally unify. I thought that seeing kind of Hulkling take more of a focal role was really, really fun. And this was a really, really good event. Even though some of the spin-off books that were supposed to happen got canceled from COVID, I think that honestly it kind of did this good because it didn't inflate the story too much. It kept it concise and down to all the tie-ins that needed to happen instead of just having a million that didn't need to be there. And we got a nice, clean, concise story.
I respect who you are. Next is
You're lovely as a person.
We're gonna come back to that. What the hell is Lars thinking? Go ahead, Lars. Tell us what you're
This is not the revised list I sent, but
Wait, there was a revision?
Yes, but okay. I guess I would defend.
Hold on a second now there, Lars. This is the second time you're calling me a liar on my show. Hold on. Evergreen picks.
You know what? I'll just run with this.
Own it, Lars. Own it, Lars.
Why not? This is not the list I thought I was defending, but why not? I'll just go with this. Okay, Infinity Gauntlet, definitely. I mean, at this point, can there really be a better known Marvel event story? And it's great, by the way. It was the basis of the best, the biggest box office Marvel movie. I constantly give this to people who come in through Yes, exactly right. I constantly give this to people who come in through Endgame. And they're like, oh, what should I read? I'm like, well, if you liked Endgame, you like this. But this greatly expands upon Endgame. I mean, the characters in here are very different, shaded more differently. Thanos' motivations are very, very different. George Perez's art is great. I like Ron Lim's art. So yeah, this is one you can constantly give to people. They always have interest in it and make them feel good about Marvel Comics. I suspect there's a record number of people in the chat who would just think, yes, this book has to be here. That's crazy if it's not.
AVX or Infinity Gauntlet?
What? Oh, sorry, what?
AVX or Infinity Gauntlet? People are saying which book needs
Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yes, Avengers versus X-Men, which I'd actually swap for Annihilation. But what the hell? We'll do this.
You better own this crap.
I know. Avengers versus X-Men. Well, okay, so actually, Avengers versus X-Men and Civil War kind of both have the same mentality. These are both books that people constantly have an interest in and constantly want to read. We have in here the competing impulses of books we love versus putting ourselves in Marvel's shoes and going, well, what would make sense if we were Marvel? And I think, so I'm going to shift over to Civil War for a little bit. Civil War is their biggest selling title ever. It is enormously selling. People are always going to have an interest in it. And yeah, there's things about it that, frankly, I'm not a fan of. There's things about it I can pick apart. I think a lot of people can. But actually, if you look at like its score on Amazon or you look at its score on Goodreads, this is a book that people want to read, and I think they like it more than they don't. I think, we critics can get in here and tear it apart, sure, but people are always going to want to read it. This is, in a way, Marvel's Watchmen in terms of sales. Civil War should just be there. And Avengers versus X-Men is really the same way. There's the clash between those two groups, whatever one's feelings about the story, people are going to want to read it. And by the way, I actually do like the Bendis run of X-Men. I think Jess and I are, in the minority on that, but it is great stuff and people are going to want to read it.
Okay, let me get this super chat really quick.
But my true list would have been Infinity Gauntlet, Annihilation, and Spider-Verse.
Well, you can't take it back now. With the fact that Maddie could give Ben his memories back with no harm to Peter, which is the whole reason they're fighting Dark Web False. But look, John is already tearing into Tyler's list. We haven't even started yet. All right. Hope everybody brought their cry pillow. Next up is my buddy Robbie. Let's see how right or wrong he might be. Oh God, you too.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah.
All right, number one, Secret Wars. The OG Secret Wars. I love the Hickman one, but the OG one was like the first maxi series, the first big Marvel event. It was like a passion project of Jim Shooter. It brought a lot of revenue into Marvel, and it has a legacy. And it is one of the preeminent Doctor Doom stories where Doctor Doom was set up to be a villain for the entirety of the Marvel Universe. He stole the power of the Beyonder, but it also gave us the toy line, which gave us our first Wolverine figure of all time. So that's pretty dope, right? Then we've got Onslaught. Onslaught's important to me personally because I grew up a Fantastic Four fan, and everybody around me in the late 80s and early 90s were Spider-Man and X-Men fans, right? This put the spotlight on the Fantastic Four, on their importance to the history of Marvel, and a lot of people that I was contemporary with. I mean, I was a teenager reading this stuff, right? I was like in 8th grade or something, right? This blew our minds apart. And a lot of people were like, man, the Fantastic Four and the Avengers are kind of important, right? Yeah, you didn't know that already? And it gave us the reveal of the X-Traitor. And when we all found out that it was actually Xavier, and then you find out the reason why, Onslaught to me is just...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way. But that's everybody who comes in and write the X-Men, they're like, what if Xavier's a bad guy? Has anybody done that story before? But it also set up Heroes Reborn, which is the reason why we get to talk about Rob Liefeld's Captain America today. And it set up eventually Heroes Return, which gave us the Kurt Busiek and George Perez Avengers run, which is one of the greatest of all time. Then we've got Maximum Carnage. This is kind of like a Spider-Man centric crossover, but it's an early appearance for Venom and Carnage. And back in those days, this came out like what, 93 or something? I'm 12 years old. I'm eating this stuff up. It was very violent at the time. Carnage is slaughtering people, picking up and coming up with this like macabre family. And Spider-Man has to get these people in, right? So it actually utilizes people like Deathlock, Captain America. It was the first time I ever heard of Cloak and Dagger, and I was a big New Warriors fan, so I was really excited to see Justice and Firestar kind of get their roses during this run. I really love Spider-Man Maximum Carnage, and being somebody who works and runs a comic shop, I hear all the time, yo, you got Spider-Man Maximum Carnage? Nope, not in print. So Marvel definitely needs to keep it in print. Also, we all remember that video game. That video game slapped. Enough said. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Now look, I'm just gonna be honest before I show my list. I knew most of y'all were probably going to pick the ones I was going to pick. So I'm like, okay, what probably won't get picked? And I went with that mentality, but still needs to be represented and part of the Evergreen. So I'm kind of like Curtis. I can't remember what I picked. Oh, yeah, Mutant Massacre. Thank God somebody thought of that. Yes, the Mutant Massacre. That is, it's the very first X-Men crossover, but it also featured, characters like Daredevil, and it ran into Thor and Power Pack. And it was violent. What Robbie was saying about Maximum Carnage, same thing going on in the Mutant Massacre. They are wiping out mutants in the Morlock tunnels because they're ugly. Nobody wants ugly mutants anymore. Chris Claremont, Louise Simonson were like, no, I just want to write about pretty mutants. So they were wiping out the tunnels. And oh my God, and it's got one of the greatest. I can't believe you went with that cover instead of the Alan Davis cover. How dare you, Peter? But that is
like my favorite cover.
That's
ever,
on.
too, but.
That's on you. That's on you. And he doesn't even have the stogie. You went with this cover?
It's the newest omnibus. I thought you would
okay,
do
sorry.
the
Anyway,
whole thing
track of
should
thought
sell
here.
it.
It is an amazing crossover and definitely belongs on the Evergreen list. I didn't think anybody would pick World War Hulk, but I went with that one because while it's not, that's the thing about Evergreen, right? Like, with the exception of Mutant Massacre, these other two stories, they're just okay to me. They don't have to be my favorite to be Evergreen. But I feel like we need a Hulk versus everyone because holy crap, I made the mistake of starting TikTok videos a couple of years ago, and that's what everybody wants to see. Where's the comic book where Hulk kills everybody? Where's the comic book where Hulk fights all of Marvel? And I thought, oh, well, if I'm going to go with that mentality, then they probably want World War Hulk, which is only 5 issues, but the entire event is one of the biggest Marvel omnis because it's got X-Men in there. It's got the Hulk issues. It's got ridiculous issues in there, too, that don't belong in the crossover. But I figured we need the big green guy represented. And I thought everybody would go with Spider-Man, the Spider-Man type of crossovers. So I went with King in Black because this one, especially the omnibus, it is an excellent story from beginning to end. You don't need to have read anything beforehand. You don't need to read anything afterwards. It's got, and we just got Null announced today in the Marvel trailer. Yay, who's excited for that? Venom Save the Last Dance, or whatever the hell it's called. But I feel like this is, out of the 3 that I chose, the most manga type of story for a Marvel comic. Like, you have the big bad, almost like an JRPG, that you have to go in the feed. He sends his minions first. We have like Absolute Carnage first, and that leads into the next story arc and leads into fighting this symbiote, god of symbiotes, rather. So yeah, and it's got some beautiful kick-ass artwork by Ryan Stegman. Absolutely. That is fun to me, just like Empire is fun to some people here, and Maximum Carnage. Now we go to the part of the video where we tear each other's choices up. So, Peter, we're going to start with you, right? I got to go back to your picks.
Indeed.
All right. Peter, wow, way to set the bar so low with your first choice. Atlantis Attacks. Are you kidding me? Peter, that is an awful crossover. Yeah, and I get it, right? Look, there's a lot of crossovers we're going to be talking about that I cannot stand. Like, but at the very least, they sell well. They're very marketable. How the hell can we market Atlantis Attacks and be taken seriously? Like, that Mike Mayhew cover either. No, not doing it.
It is kind of a name you say while snickering. Yeah.
It's the joke of the crossovers. Like everybody jokes about Avengers: The Crossing, and when it comes to the Marvel crossover, everybody jokes with Atlantis Attacks. Like one of the biggest jokes on my channel for 7 years now is, Omar, when is Marvel going to reprint Atlantis Attacks? And there might be one guy once a year that's like, oh my God, I really want that. And everybody else is like, psych, that story sucks. So yeah, that's a no for me, man. That's a bad story. It's not even marketable. It's not like Namor is like a big name in the MCU yet. Yeah, I mean, he could be one day. I don't know.
It's Namor, Omar. Come on. Namor.
Oh, fuck off. That comes from a place of love, Robbie.
Actually, I believe it's French and the R is silent, so it's just Namo.
Oh, shut up.
Stan Lee says it's Namor. So
that's a no for me. But on Atlantis Attacks, War of the Kings, that is a solid choice. I am super surprised nobody went with Annihilation Conquest, because Larry's right. That is the superior one, and that is the one that is primarily written by DNA, and that's why. And it also introduces us to the Guardians of the Galaxy that James Gunn fell in love with and then took to the movies. So I'm really surprised that didn't happen. But I really like this because, let's face it, this is X-Men versus Cosmic Marvel. I love that. War of the Realms has some beautiful artwork. That's going to be a maybe for me, but I love that War of the Kings choice. Good choice for that. You can go to hell with Atlantis Attacks, though. War of the Realms, kind of in the Larry, you got anything to add about any of these choices? How bad Atlantis Attacks is? 46 years.
I'm a huge Namor fan, so the premise of this is, for me, should be right at my alley. But what I've read of it, I just found really annoying. It was like interrupting other things, and it was annoying. It was probably, when I think of an annoying crossover, I think of Atlantis Attacks.
That should be the blurb on the reprint of the omnibus. Okay, what about War of the Kings and War of the Realms? They do it for you?
War of Kings for sure. I think it's solid. I haven't read enough of War of the Realms to really judge it too either way, but War of the Kings for sure. War of Kings.
All right, Sean, what about you? What do you Peter's not going to take anything personal. Go at him.
All right.
So as long as you don't insult his hair, just go at it.
Peter's hair is amazing.
Yeah, you can.
So this is my first time being here. This is my first rebuttal phase. I'm not going to go hard on Peter, but what I will say is that I don't think that these books necessarily fit the criteria, because if you're going to get a big, expansive, sprawling, alien sci-fi event, you could do better than War of Kings. I don't think Atlantis Attacks fits the criteria. I feel like there are other books that better represent these spaces of Marvel. Not that War of Kings is not a good book. It's just that there are better choices. So that's what I would say.
How do you feel about War of the Realms?
War of the Realms, I feel similarly about. I think War of Kings is superior, but War of the Realms is another one where I feel like it just doesn't necessarily fit the criteria of this needs to always be in print. There's like 5 people looking for these books, and I'm sorry, but you can't print omnibus for 5 people.
Five people in the country or the world?
The world, it might be. It might
5
be
people in the world.
Yeah, it could be.
Peter,
Peter, he's not going at you hard. We said only 5 people want your damn books.
Sean's like, I'm going to take it easy this first time around. Only 5 people agree with you.
Yes.
I'm one of them.
You should hear my show.
5 people do not want this book to die on a fire.
Okay.
Peter, how married are you to the War of Realms omnibus? Because I feel like it shifts things or is that just War of the Realms? Or is that the omnibus?
I mean, it's the cover of the omnibus because it has all of the tie-ins.
So
I think the tie-ins are fun. That's part of my pitch.
Were you pumping for the omnibus or pumping for just the miniseries?
No, I think you got to pump for the omnibus because there's so much stuff happening in War Scrolls, in Thor, and as Guardians of the Galaxy. I think the delight in this event is that it was very well coordinated and like it has a very firm position for all of those things to fit into, and it makes sense. I hate when events don't make sense, when you have all the tie-ins and you're like, these don't even go. Like the currently completed event that they just did, Blood Hunt. The tie-ins make no sense in terms of the story. To me, War of the Realms, they all fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Curtis, what would you like to add? You're on mute, Curtis.
I'm on mute. Okay, so I think that the one I wouldn't push through would be War of the Realms, not because I don't like the story. I think it's great. I really enjoy it. But it's the end of a story. And being the cap of all of this, multi-year run on Thor, it's not something that people can just pick up and enjoy as much as, like, say, Atlantis Attacks.
Oh, Atlantis. Okay. Interesting. That is a fair statement. But then again, like, I feel like the event itself explains everything. There's a bad guy that has been gathering other bad guys from across the realms, and they're coming to Earth. That's really doesn't take 4 years, or I'm sorry, this is the 6th year of Aaron's run. Doesn't really take you 6 years to catch up on, right? Like, I think people are smart enough to figure it out. Just to kind of counterpoint that. You owe me one, Peter. Okay. Anything else you want to add to Peter's choices?
No, that's it.
Okay. Tyler, what about you, man?
Ooh, Atlantis Attacks, I've never read, so that might say enough.
Okay.
And I have no real reason to read it. So I have no more to say about that. War of Kings. Man, I like these other two, though. Or put Black Bolt in a book. I'm going to read it. Put Vulcan in a book. His every decade he gets an appearance somewhere. I'm going to read it. And War of the Realms was actually my backup pick, so I can't really hate on that one too much. That's just, it's Daughterman. Like, you don't get that often, and having that in a collection, man. 2 out of 3 of these I really like, so I can't really tear these up.
Sean, is Tyler the nice comic pal?
I think Marco is the nice.
Marco's the nice one. You didn't not bring the nice one with you.
That's why we didn't invite Marco.
We didn't invite Marco because he's a Marvel baby. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're the little baby.
If this was a Swamp Thing episode, it would just be him. We would just tell him to go on the show. Yeah.
Oddfell, what do you think of your best buddy, Peter's choice?
So, I mean, okay.
Oh, no.
I couldn't make it all the way through Atlantis Attacks. About the only thing I remember is Jean has like that.
God bless you.
Yeah, like the only thing I remember is Jean's really pretty seashell bikini from the X-Men tie-in. I don't know if that means it's evergreen worthy. I really liked War of Kings. I thought it was very good. And War of Realms, I really liked. And like what Peter was saying, I found that unlike other events, each tie-in actually felt relevant, and I had a lot of fun reading it because even though it's nebulous, it had a lot of really iconic moments. Like, I still think about Spider-Man getting the helmet where he can talk to horses, like, quite frequently. Yes! It's got such funny moments that I really liked War of the Realms.
All right. Lars, I think you've already you jumped to bash Peter. You're like, what? Let me at this bastard. You skipped over Sean, man.
Let me offer some praise. So, Peter, you were saying you were motivated because Atlantis Attacks is one of your first loves. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, and I love annual crossovers, which is more of a DC thing generally.
Sure. So, I mean, here's the thing about first loves. Okay, with your first love, you're thrilled to just be having the sex. Okay, and you get better at it later on. Okay, that's the whole point. So no, Atlantis Attacks. Oh dear, oh dear, no. The other ones though, War of the Kings and War of the Realms. Yeah, those are good picks. Are they the best of the best? I mean, I could probably be convinced that there are better ones, but certainly these are solid, entertaining reads. I agree with you. War of the Realms is probably better constructed than a lot of other ones. I mean, this is why I always stump for Infinity Gauntlet, the miniseries, and not all the Infinity Gauntlet tie-ins, which I just don't think contribute to the whole. This one does a lot more solid job. So I could be... there might be better ones out there. I'm leaning toward voting for these, but we'll see.
But not his first love.
No.
Because he was no good at the sex with Atlantis.
That's just it. No,
he just got better and better.
The sex is terrible, but you're having it. So that's the most important criteria. Yeah.
Thank you for that comparison, Lars.
Yes, all the time.
Robbie, would you like to add anything, sexual or non-sexual, about Crisis Pigs, please?
Yeah, well, so we're trying to come up with the top 10, best, right? The most evergreen Marvel events, right?
Yeah.
None of these three make that list for me, right? But I'll tell you this. I'll say this. Atlantis Attacks, I'll defend that because I loved those annual Marvel events back in the day, but it's not as good as Evolutionary War, which came a little bit before it. So, but I loved that. But there was an element to the annual event that I liked as a kid because I was able to dive in and check out other books, right? War of the Kings is decent, cool, but I don't think it's like super heavy ramifications for the Marvel universe, right? War of the Realms is a great finale to Jason Aaron's Thor run. It is a terrible Marvel event, right? And this is something Marvel does all the time where they're like, oh, this is a cool build up to the end of your run, Jason or Donnie or whoever. Let's make it an event for no reason. And War of the Realms, yeah, just drops out for me because of that. It's a great ending to his Thor run, but it's a terrible event in my opinion.
Well, I mean, we all know the reason, right? Like money. Oh my gosh, why would I make it 5 issues if we can make it 40?
Yeah, but that's the problem, Omar, and we gotta nip that in the bud right now. You know what I'm saying? We gotta. This
I
is the
see
stream.
a lot of
ended.
problems with these lists right now, and the omnibus is the least of my problems. All right, that's enough on Crisis. He had enough attention. All right, Larry's list. Larry, I'm glad you brought Annihilation. I knew somebody with Big Secret Wars. House of M is the only one I have a problem with, but that is a personal problem. I think it's a horrible story. But hold on, before I go on, before it goes into chaos, as Uncanny Suit has said, before the chaos erupts, I'm going to need Omar and Peter to say something nice about Bendis. What an epic panel. Thank you all for the constant entertainment and laughs. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm going to say that Bendis as a human being is one of the greatest creators out there. I've seen the way that he treats fans. He takes his time with each and every one of them, doesn't charge for autographs to this day, you know, and he's not the status of some of these other people, or he is bigger than a lot of other people that charge for autographs, and he still doesn't to these days. Like you can bring as many issues as you want to, and then he will stop and talk to you, take pictures with you. He is one hell of a guy. As far as the stories, I really enjoyed Powers. Peter.
You know, his bald head is so shiny I could probably see my hair in it. But aside
You're
from that,
making it about you again.
No, here's what I'll say.
God.
The thing I love about Bendis, especially in the mid 2000s, but also when he moved over to DC, is like you can tell that Bendis not only loves comics, loves creating comics, but he loves making sure that it's not just the same few characters at the front every time. He's the reason we got Jessica Drew back as a character. He's a reason Luke Cage is like big time now. I don't think Luke Cage would have had a Marvel TV show if it wasn't for Bendis using him in the 2000s. Bendis has a love of making sure that my favorite Marvel character, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, would not have been on that path if not for Brian Bendis. That's what I love about Bendis. I can take or leave when he's like the big hit maker. I love just all the little stuff he pulls in, all the characters he makes sure gets an appearance. There's not a lot of people as good at that as Brian Bendis.
So
Dakota North.
I hope it was worth it. That sounds a lot better than he makes my hair look pretty. I will say, like I said, it is a personal taste. I'm not a fan of House of M. I thought it was a padded out event. I didn't like what it did, especially to Wolverine, because I still don't get what they did with Wolverine. It's got beautiful artwork, and I will say, if we're looking at it from a marketing standpoint, I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense. You want pretty artwork and you want the heavy hitters on the cover. But I think it's going to come between that and Age of Apocalypse, and my vote's going to go for Age of Apocalypse. If we're looking for a representation of alternate storylines featuring the X-Men, but that's just my 2 cents. Like the other two, perfect. I would rather have you chosen Annihilation Conquest, but that's the thing. That's the hard part about this Evergreen. We don't see each other's choices until the day of, and then it becomes like concrete, right? Like so. But Annihilation is a great start. It's a great start, and it gave us 5 Omnis worth of amazing modern Marvel cosmic events.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say. But yeah, solid choices nonetheless, Larry. Props to you. Peter, what do you want to say about Larry's choices?
I will say this. I think of everyone on the panel, Larry has my only straight down the ballot, I will vote for every 3 trio of choices. Even though they're not, one of them is not my personal favorite, but I think it is absolutely an evergreen. Secret Wars, y'all beat me up for bringing Secret Wars to one of the first evergreen shows. I'm so gratified to see the love for it here. It's so readable. People pretend that it's like this toyetic book and like there's not, it's an amazing Doom story. It's an amazing X-Men story. It's an amazing story for the Fantastic Four. It's got so much happening and everybody gets their moment and it all kind of is just interwoven. I think anybody who's like, oh, it just was Jim Shooter selling toys needs to reread it in a modern mindset. I think it more than holds up. I think it's better now. There are speeches in that book, especially Wolverine's speech to Captain America about Captain America not standing up for mutants, that have reverberated for decades, especially because Jonathan Hickman has this book committed to his long-term memory. He pulls out like individual lines from this book constantly throughout all of his runs. It's that important. So yes, it absolutely should be evergreen. Annihilation is amazing. So you're gonna sense a theme in some of my comments. I love books where everybody gets their chance to shine. I love those kind of events. I love events that start with a bunch of separate threads and then braid together into like something really cool. And Annihilation does that. It starts with that Drax mini series, which is kind of dumb in my opinion. But then when I read the whole thing, I'm like, oh crap! Like I need to know all this about how Drax came back from the dead, who the Blood Brothers are, all this stuff. Like Annihilation is so fun, and the canvas just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I love it. I've reread the whole thing recently. I think that, you could say some of the stuff that comes after it is better, but evergreens should start at the start. And this is a book that anybody can pick up. It doesn't assume any foreknowledge. It explains who Star-Lord is. It explains what Nova is doing with the Nova Corps. Like that's the perfect thing to be evergreen. And then House of M, I don't love House of M, but let's be real. If we're talking about like fans, comic book readers out there in the world, they love an alternate universe story, especially if they're coming in from other media. And I don't think they love an alternate universe story that's like tied up with the real universe as much as when they can just read something that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So many people are already like, well, that event was the beginning of a run. That event was the end of a run. Here's an event that's just the event. This is it. It's all here. Everything you need is in this book. So I think this is 3 perfect picks, Larry.
Marvel would beg to differ because there's a House of M companion and a Decimation omnibus, Peter.
Yeah, but you don't need those.
But
you would never know that they exist. It would make perfect sense still.
Sean, what nice things do you have to say about Larry?
You know what? First of all, I love Larry's beard. That's number one.
Oh,
thank you.
And
starting with the
number
flattery.
two,
Okay.
yes, of course, absolutely. And number two, Larry has great taste in comic books. Secret Wars is the first comic I ever read. I was gifted it from Universal Studios, and I have that same exact trade all busted and beaten up. So I couldn't advocate against this. I think this belongs in the final 10. Annihilation, I think, is that better example of what a cosmic event can be and do. I agree with everything that Peter said about Annihilation. I think it definitely earns a spot in the top 10. House of M is a little shaky. You could kind of go either way with it. And I think when we do get down to having to be very stringent, I might be harsher on it, but I personally enjoy this event. I just don't know if it absolutely must be in the final
10. There's 2 people with Onslaught next. Imagine on.
Fair point. We'll dissect that.
All right, Curtis, what do you have to say about Larry? To his face.
About Larry, I think Larry's a great guy.
Oh my God, you already sick. All right, go ahead.
However, no.
Tell us how.
The only one on this list here, I would have to disagree with House of M. Omar hit it on the head earlier. It's like after reading Age of Apocalypse and then coming to House of M, it's like they're trying to capture the same magic, and it just absolutely doesn't work the same way. I appreciate what it does for the storytelling of some of these characters moving forward, but I don't think that it needs to be on a list of top 10 when we have so many more way better options. Secret Wars and Annihilation I haven't read yet. I'm waiting for that Epic collection to come out next year, and I'll read it. But Secret Wars is great.
Okay, and Tyler?
Yeah, Secret Wars is probably one of the more evergreen books you can have at Marvel. Like, I don't think there's any real disputing it. Annihilation, I actually just read for our show earlier this month, or at the end of last month rather, and I I prefer Conquest. I'm more of a Conquest guy, but you can't really have Annihilation Conquest without Annihilation. This really kicks off the Marvel stuff. So I enjoy this one as well. Some really killer Nova stuff in Annihilation too that I just love. But House of M, I feel like House of M really just boils down to the No More Mutants bit. And I think other books have done that Elseworldsy take on the X-Men, like they mentioned Age of Apocalypse. I think it's just been done better elsewhere. It's good looking. Coipel is a phenomenal artist, but I think that when anyone thinks of that book, it's just the end. So I don't know if it needs to be evergreen.
Okay. Oddfell, you want to tear into Larry?
Yeah.
Yes.
I also am not a fan of House of M. I don't like what it does with a lot of the characters. A lot of what I was going to say has already been said, but one thing I will say about it is if they want to make an evergreen on the list that's Wanda centric, I think Avengers Disassembled would be a way better pick. I think because House of M has the argument, right? Well, there's Madness in the Multiverse and a lot of buzz around Wanda and XYZ. But if that is an argument for putting House of M in, I think Avengers Disassembled is a much better fit for that and something that would align much more with kind of what people know Wanda as from the movies, and it's just a really, really solid event.
Okay. And you're okay with Secret Wars and Annihilation for now?
Yeah, I've personally never read Secret Wars, and I liked Annihilation, so.
Oh, well, we need to fix that. Okay. Lars, do you have anything nice to say tonight?
I do. What? Why do you think I have nothing positive to say? Okay, so Secret Wars. My feelings on Secret Wars are complicated.
Okay.
I know. No, I recognize its historical importance. That's why it keeps coming up again and again and again. Mike Zeck's art is spectacular, obviously. But I'm old. I'm ancient enough to have been around when this book was coming out, and I have always found it boring. It is boring because the characters are it was almost like it was cobbled together to have the least impact on the ongoing titles because, of course, they disappear and then they come back in right away. They're transported to this world where there's nothing interesting about this world. It's kind of barren. There's nothing interesting there. A lot of it's an exercise in telling, not showing. In X-Men, I was waiting to get caught up to what was going on with Colossus and this romance between some alien chick that made him give up on Kitty. And then it was just so clunkily done. I think that if you're looking for conversations between some of these characters who don't normally meet, they've been done better elsewhere. I just find it insipidly dull. But that's just me. But I recognize its historical importance, and I often put myself in Marvel's shoes. Annihilation, I think, is great, and we had a little wardrobe malfunction behind the scenes. I had put Annihilation on my list, so I will definitely vote for that.
Hey, well, you can't do that, Lars.
No, I'm not going to do it now, but yeah,
you just did.
Well, sort of. I think Annihilation is pretty great for all the reasons that people have said. It really gives these characters who don't always get a lot of prominence a chance to shine. House of M, the challenge there with Elseworld stories or alternative stories is that the moment you go into them, that a reset button is going to get hit at the end. And it can sometimes be difficult to really fully invest and care about what's going on within that world because it's going to end. And here, I had a really hard time connecting because I was like, well, this is not going to last very long. There's other ones that, like Kingdom Come works really well for me. I think that's spectacular. But here, it felt like a tool. It felt like a tool to achieve the No More Mutants thing. And I couldn't fully invest. I think there's other stories that have done this better. Or there are other X-Men stories that are better than this one.
Okay. Robbie, what about you, buddy?
Well, I personally really like Larry's list. Obviously, Secret Wars is on there. I picked that one too. I think it's great. I've heard all the criticism, and y'all are right for the most part. It was designed to sell toys. And I said it when I talked to Jim Shooter, because I ran a panel with him one time, he told me he was
my man. Man.
He was like, the thing I'm most proud of is Heroes for Hope, right? Because he was raising money for stuff, right? But he was like, but I'm really proud of the sales that we pushed on Secret Wars. He was proud of that as a businessman, not as a creator necessarily, right? But who cares about the toy line? It did have a major impact on the Marvel Universe. Black Costume Spider-Man gave us Venom. You know what I'm saying? Thing leaves the Fantastic Four. She-Hulk joins. That's some real fun stuff. And I wasn't there at the time, but I was there just a couple of years later. I was reading Secret Wars 2 as it was happening. And I see you out there in the chat. I love Secret Wars 2 as well, but I did not put it on this list for a good reason. But Secret Wars just rocks for me just because of that importance. Like, we have events in comics because of Secret Wars. Annihilation is fantastic. It's a great choice. It revitalized Cosmic Marvel because Cosmic Marvel was just the dudes who were potheads back in the 70s. That's who that was. That's who loved Warlock and Thanos and all that stuff. House of M, I'm on the fence about a little bit because I think it's important. Like, I like Bendis, right? And I think Bendis, I think he eventually got watered down, but he was really hitting a stride at a certain point. And you could just read his yearly events and know the story of Marvel for a while. You start at Mark Millar on Civil War, and then you follow along with like House of M and in through Dark Reign, Secret Invasion, Siege, that whole thing. Like, it's a nice thread you can follow. House of M, though, like you said, Omar, it's just Age of Apocalypse. And I think Age of Apocalypse is just a smidge better, but I do agree with all three of these being evergreen, always available to consumers at all times.
Okay. That's everybody's thoughts. Sean is next. Sean likes Wars and Secrets. So, Sean, okay. I'm trying to distance myself from my personal hate of Civil War, but I will say I can see it being an evergreen. Yeah, absolutely. It is. I've got a lot of bad things to say about it. It's a horrible story. It doesn't make any sense.
The same.
It doesn't make any sense. But God damn it, it's an evergreen. Like, there's no counter argument why it is probably one of the most reprinted trade paperbacks, one of the most reprinted. It is one of the 3 oversized hardcovers they've ever reprinted at Marvel Comics. And one with a movie cover on it too. There's a Michael Turner variant. Yeah, I hate that story, but I can't argue that it should not be on the list.
That's all I want to hear.
Secret Wars is, if I have to choose between the two, I have to go with the original. Although you're right, this gives us one hell of a Doom. And if they're trying to market it towards that corporate synergy with the Fantastic Four movie coming out, that may have Doom, and then what is the Doomsday, I think is what it's called. I can't believe they beat DC to a Doomsday movie. Then maybe Secret Invasion is the one I have the problem with. It's just not a good story. It's dull. I do like Lionel Francis Yu. I think he's a phenomenal artist. I like the idea. The execution is bad. And honestly, when I think of like big crossovers at Marvel, in Secret Invasion, probably with Atlantis Attacks, not as bad as Atlantis Attacks, but maybe just as dull. Like, not a lot happens, and there was maybe a couple of good issues of new Avengers in it. But like I said, it's not just, obviously it's not just personal taste, because I'm giving the green light to Civil War. My vote will be Civil War. Secret Wars I'm on the fence about, but definitely Secret Invasion. I wasn't a fan of the execution, nor what it did. I don't even know if it makes any sense to read it like this, like, because there's just very little lead up to it, and then it just happens, and then Mockingbird's back. What? But that's all I got to say. Larry, what do you think about Sean's list, buddy? He commented. I complimented your beard. Remember?
Yes, thank you. I haven't read that Secret Wars, so I'm not gonna judge that. But Secret Invasion, I loved it. I really liked it. I liked the art. I love Bendis. But the problem is, I don't think I'm like what you said. I don't think this really holds up as a to read it this way. I don't know that it would work. Now, Civil War, I think, is fabulous. I loved it. Another example of great art, great story. It just worked for me. So I would keep Civil War.
Okay. Sean, I know your feelings. Curtis, what do you think, buddy?
I personally really enjoyed Civil War. My caveat to reprinting this one is that I would want them to reprint ones that include some, if not all, of the little side stories, because I think that's where more of the interesting stuff is. And while it's really, really fun to see the superheroes beat up each other, and let's face it, we all love seeing that. That's why Marvel versus DC is so popular as well. I think the real interesting parts come in the one-on-one conversations that people are having when they're struggling to choose a side and that kind of stuff. I found a lot of that stuff really interesting. Secret Invasion, I will agree with that one being needs to be read in context, I think. Otherwise, it's just kind of it's just a thing that happens and then then it's done. And it's hard to tell what the impact or significance of that story is without knowing the surrounding parts. The modern Secret Wars, I can't comment on because I haven't read any of that.
Okay. Tyler, your buddy Sean on the show that you guys run together, Comic Pals. What do you think of this?
It's nice to see Kevin Feige's list that he got off a BuzzFeed article on here.
Oh,
So sorry,
Okay, Tyler.
That's your
All
boy,
right, Tyler.
I knew Sean was. I can go a
Okay.
little harder on
I'll
Sean.
see you Saturday.
I control the stream. Here's the thing. Sean always plays the win. You know, I would have liked a little more of a gamble here. But these are the ones that would be evergreen because they all have something in the MCU tied to it. There will be maybe Feige might be trying to get away from the Secret Invasion because that show wasn't the best. So maybe I guess that's the one I could put into debate here. But I actually really enjoy that book. As a Bendis head, maybe one of the lone ones here with Sean. I really like the build up to Secret Invasion with the Skrulls and Elektra and all that. But yeah, it's just I can't really argue against these besides the initial low blow that I can give to Sean. But yeah, other than that, these will probably always be in print at some point.
Oddfell, what do you think of Sean's choices?
Yeah, so I was not a huge fan of this Secret Wars. I remember trying to pick it up and read it when I first started getting into comics, and I don't know if it's that I just wasn't familiar with the Marvel Universe yet, or it just didn't hit for me, but I didn't find it the most memorable. I don't know out of this and the original which would probably get picked up, but knowing that Black Suit Spider-Man comes from the original, I'd say if one Secret Wars had to get in, it would probably be the original one. Civil War is of course going to make it. It's iconic. It really is one of those name recognition things, not even just because of the movies, but the movies certainly helps. I just feel like it's a very prolific Marvel event that absolutely will become an evergreen. And then Secret Invasion, I don't know if it's sacrilege to say, but I feel like the Avengers cartoon did the storyline better. But I also feel like Secret Invasion is, again, another one of those high name recognition events that I could easily see being an evergreen. So that one I'm kind of on the fence about, but Civil War absolutely would get my vote.
Okay. Lars, you've been a very positive light tonight. What do you think of the list here?
I just strive to be a beacon to the world, Omar. That's what I do. Well, Civil War is on my list, so of course I'm going to be voting for that one. Actually, I agree with everything you said, Omar. There are parts of Civil War.
Easy, Oddfell. Go on, Lars.
there are parts of Civil War that I really just grit my teeth about, and yet it needs to be on an evergreen list. I mean, it just does, despite my reservations. It did also weirdly going into it. It did make you rethink things because people thought, oh, well, Captain America will be on the side of the government and Iron Man will be on the side of the heroes. And of course, those positions were reversed. And then the more you think about it, the more you go, would Captain America go around beating up superheroes and forcing them into government service? He probably wouldn't. So I think it changed our perceptions about things. Secret Wars, it is really good. I really enjoy the art is good. The story is good. Here's my reservation. I tried to read it without having read Hickman's Avengers. I've read Hickman's Avengers now. I read all of it thoroughly. Okay. But at the time, it's like, oh, here's a big event. You should read it. And I'm like, okay, I should read it. And because it's the culmination of the Hickman era, I found it with utterly bewildering. I was the issue 1. I was hit by hurricane force winds of confusion as to what the F-bomb was going on, which kind of is Hickman's fault. As good as Hickman is, he does this. He sometimes assumes pre-knowledge, and he just shouldn't. He's done this before with issue 1, so I don't think this is good for newcomers. I think they're going to go, what the hell is the status quo here? And it's going to be very, very confusing, but it is a great comic. And Secret Invasion, I kind of echo everything people are saying. I mean, it's got its virtues, but it really doesn't come together like a bulletproof comic should. So yeah, I'd probably vote no on that one.
Okay. And Robbie, any thoughts on Sean's list?
Yeah, Sean, decent list. Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman is probably my favorite Marvel event ever. And I think it should be evergreen, but I knew a lot of people would have certain, let's be honest, Civil War, Infinity Gauntlet, and the original Secret War. That's the top 3 right there, right? But, the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars is really great. But I agree with Lars. Like, if you didn't read the Hickman Avengers and New Avengers run, and then also Hickman's Fantastic Four run, you lose a little bit of the impact, right? So, but I followed Fantastic Four and FF and Avengers and New Avengers, and it perfectly leads into this big epic finale of the Marvel Universe. So I love Secret Wars. Civil War is dope. And at the time that was releasing, that was blowing people away. And I like how Mark Millar was kind of doing this thing where he wasn't trying to force it to connect. He was just giving you the big beats and the big brush strokes. And I think it works really well. And that's definitely one that's a top seller, should always be out there. Secret Invasion blows. It blows. It's really bad. It's so bad. I want to like Secret Invasion, but it's bad. The only amazing and redeeming thing about it is that the show was even worse. So there you go. Secret Invasion. No.
Okay. I like what you said about Miller. Like the way you worded that about Miller just giving you these stories. Like I've always worded it differently. It was like Miller pretended to never have read a single issue featuring these characters and giving you a story pretending like he knew what he was writing. And I think the way you made it sound is very political. Like you should have been a politician, my friend. That was really good.
That would have been a bad idea, brother.
You have no.
I really like the way that was worded. It was really positive. I was like, wow, okay.
It's true though. You
I
got to think
agree.
about like comics in the early 2000s. We're talking about the influence of like Warren Ellis and Grant Morrison really kind of steeping in on people, right? And Mark Millar is a part of that, right? He worked with Grant for a long time. And those comics, they just kind of give you moments and they let you kind of fill in the rest. And then, if you want to have tie-ins and do all the stuff, there were some really bad Civil War tie-ins. There were some really bad Civil War
absolutely.
tie-ins. But the main thread, like when the fake Thor comes back, like that was a big moment because we thought Thor was back. The only problem was like they tried to, it had some impact, but I don't remember who said this, but you're 100% right. Like you thought Iron Man would go a different way and Steve would go another way. And they switched that dynamic.
That was me. I'm 100% right, but go on. That was Lars is the one that said that.
This was the time where I was like, go Cap, screw you, Tony. What are you doing, man? Like, and I was always more of an Iron Man fan than Cap because Cap was way too for me, but
Okay.
He's dope. I mean, Civil War is great. That is evergreen for sure. It always sells, always.
Peter, do you agree with everything that everybody has said?
Well, first of all, I have to say that Sean, I think, gave the best pitch out of everybody. Like, it was just pure evergreen show spirit and chaos, and I was loving it. Unfortunately, Sean has picked 3 books I seriously dislike. Although I do think that one of them, probably he's right, that it should be evergreen. I don't know what kind of things y'all are smoking that you think Secret Wars made any sense. It was a heap of steaming garbage. There's no story. It's a bunch of people just wandering around, standing in poses, not doing anything. And then at the end, it's solved with a sandwich. It is one of the worst Marvel stories ever published. Now, if you read Fantastic Four, then there is some resonance, but there's no story. Nothing. Flames on the side of my face. Okay.
Look, if we're gonna break down the stories, then I can really go at it with Civil War. But I refuse.
I'm taking mental damage right now.
Civil War, which I don't like, was one of the books that got me to like pick up a comic when I went back to a comic shop in the late '00s. And like I agree, everybody's acting out of character. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think we just hit it with that discussion of like Miller knows how to structure an event where he just gives you a little slice of the happening. It's almost like you're seeing like posters or billboards or freeze frames of the big moments. And then if you want to, you can go into the tie-ins. I think that makes it well structured. And if we're talking about like evergreening events in their entirety instead of just like the primary series, I seriously dislike the primary series, but I think there's enough hooks in Civil War that if you're talking about putting the event omnibus and making it evergreen, I can see that argument. Secret Invasion is nothing happens. Again, like there's this big promise that all this cool stuff is going to happen because of all the embedded Skrulls. And then who got embedded that like was so interesting? Pym and Spider-Woman, like they just totally threw away the entire concept. None of the tie-ins were good. I find it deeply unpleasant to reread. I think Dark Reign, which comes afterwards, is way more exciting, which I know it's set up, but I would not curse anybody to reread Secret Invasion just to enjoy Dark Reign.
Dark Reign's great. I would say that 100%. And the lead in to Secret Invasion is way better than what Secret Invasion was. But you're wrong about Secret Wars. Secret Wars gave us one of the greatest Marvel Comics moments ever when Doom looks at Thanos and goes, "Tell me, do you have a gauntlet now?"
That was so badass.
And then Sub-Zero's that dude, man. Like, what's up with that? It's awesome.
Okay, I do have to like I know I can't let it happen twice. That two people are complimenting Mark Miller like he's a genius. That, oh, Mark Miller gave you this small recipe and you could make it bigger if you wanted to. No, it's because Mark Miller wasn't fucking thinking of anybody else. Is why, like, there's no recipe. He was just minding his own damn business, writing a story. He killed the New Warriors. Don't even get me started on that. And
now
Marvel took the opportunity to, yeah.
Now, that Civil War was laid out.
Larry, you talking back to me? Go on.
That was laid out at those Marvel summits where you had Joe Quesada and you had Brian Michael Bendis and others, and they all sort of jammed on that. So I don't know that you can lay that good or bad just on Mark Miller.
You know what?
And they did do the New Warriors wrong, though. You're right about that.
Absolutely. No, they're treated like trash. Yeah.
We have blamed Joe Quesada for one more day, and he owns that, right? I feel like Mark Miller needs some responsibility. Just like take some responsibility for what he did to a lot of the characters here. All right, and that's all I will say about it.
And by the way, that would have been really easy to fix. All they had to do was introduce a new superhero team, like some new characters who'd gotten these powers, and they were young and they were inexperienced, and they caused this disaster. Leave the New Warriors out of it, and then it could be, well, we have to have these laws because, you know, even though the Avengers can be trusted and so on, if anybody can be a superhero, it's just begging for disaster without registration. That would have been a lot stronger.
John, you bastard.
Yeah. And then we have
John is not talking about Generation X penance. He's talking about edgy ass Robbie Baldwin.
You're talking about the Warren Ellis penance.
Spoilers.
I hate, dude.
That's the most interesting usage of a writer and creative usage of a writer of Speedball's powers of anybody, man. I'm sorry. Speedball sucks. He was only cool when he was penance.
There you go. Penance.
What?
I
love
Penance.
I think it's a cool idea.
No, we were friends. You're
no.
Like the idea
Warriors
of somebody
rock,
who vibrates and like bounces off of anything and getting hurt by anything and being like, let's just make his whole suit pain so that he constantly it's just such a
oh my god, it's so edgy. I hate that so much. That's Mark Miller comics.
Anyway, the length of this, whatever length this is going to be, I could do a video about why you were all absolutely wrong about Civil War. I'm telling you right now. And if you would give me the platform, it could happen. I'm just letting you know that you were all wrong. Thank you.
I think we're all wrong and all right.
All right,
we are all right.
Well, yeah, Penance was like a dark squirrel girl, by the way.
Thanks for that, John.
Man, I was an emo kid reading Thunderbolts. I loved Penance. I saw myself in them.
Penance was awesome.
You were the
I don't care.
audience.
I was a target for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. You went to Hot Topic and got your dark clothes, and then you went home and cried about
I think I read Thunderbolts in Hot Topic, actually. The lighting was a little off. But...
And you all mocked me when I said people buy comics at Dark Topic on the last stream.
Dark Topic?
Hot
That's where I bought Umbrella Academy.
Dark
I love
Topic.
Dark Topic better. All right. Curtis's list, I can't make fun of. It's actually really solid. Like, I actually am with you with Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse, if it's the omnibus with Spider-Geddon, absolutely. You've got Miles Morales, you've got Spider-Woman, you've got Spider-Gwen, and you have Spider-Man. That's going to be a tough one to take out. This list is solid. Curtis, I have nothing but I hate you because I have nothing but good things to say about your list. Like, they're all wonderful choices. Age of Apocalypse makes sense. I prefer it over the House of M. It's got better artwork. It's got better stories. And and honestly, it's one that's all and done because it kicks off with Legion Quest. You don't really need to have read a lot of years of X-Men to understand what's going on. And then the ending is an ending to this universe, and it's an ending to the story. Sure, X-Men continues in issue 5, whatever reasons that was. You can follow the adventures of Holocaust, or what did they change the name to? Nemesis later on, and Sugar Man and Dark Beast, but it ends. And I dig it. I'm glad it's here. Larry, what do you think of Curtis's list? Solid? Yay, nay? What do you got over there?
Well,
oh God,
I haven't read Spider-Verse, so
okay.
I won't comment on that. Age of Apocalypse, unpopular opinion. I didn't like it at all. To me, it's the epitome of 90s excess. You have a lot of questionable art in there, in my opinion. No, it's a no. But I mean, I get why it's seminal for some people that grew up with this. So maybe it'd be on the list for them.
Larry, you had Civil War. You didn't grow up with that. All right,
well, that's true. But it has great art throughout. I mean, you got to give me that.
Who's questionable? Come on.
You got Andy
Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity Gauntlet, of course. There's no doubt. That's solid. That's got to be here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering who's questionable. Who does Larry not like? There's a lot. There's Joe Mad, Andy Kubert.
I bet you don't like Joe Mattiera. That's what it is.
Man. You didn't like anime. You didn't like anime, do you, Larry? Is that what it is?
Yeah, not too much.
Not a Roger Cruz fan here. I see.
Nobody liked Roger Cruz. Even Joe Mad hated.
That was like faux. That was faux Joe Mad.
Dude, I love the joke within that comic. What was it? Uncanny 360 something. It's the Joe Mad. No, it had to have been the 325. It's the one where the kid is reading that newspaper. It says Roger Cruz swipes again, and it's a Joe Mad drawn comic. I was like, yes, he's stealing your artwork. All right, Sean, any thoughts on Curtis's list here?
Definitely. So first of all, Infinity Gauntlet, I think, is exactly what the criteria is for this top 10 evergreen. I think that is it's perfect. It belongs in this conversation 100%. I would vote for that. Age of Apocalypse, I think if we're going to do any story that's like out of continuity, this would have to be the one. And by that, I mean like that goes to different places and doesn't necessarily stick straight into the mainstream stuff. I think this would be the one. And Spider-Verse, I don't know how else we could represent Spider-Man. It's definitely not going to be with Maximum Carnage. So I think Spider-Verse has to be.
Robbie's turn.
I think Spider-Verse has to be the way we represent it. I don't like the book, but I think this is about objectivity. And if we're going to do a top 10 list, Spider-Man has to be there. And this would be the one, I would imagine, because you can get so many flavors of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Taste the rainbow of Spider-Man.
There you go.
Tyler, what do you think of your of Curtis's list here?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think I saw an Infinity Gauntlet shirt at Hot Topic now, so you can actually get those. It's just iconic. This is one of the ones you can't really dispute. Age of Apocalypse, it is a blind spot for me. That's one of those Wikipedia reads that I had. It was daunting. It is scary sometimes. But like when you think of an X-Men event, it's kind of the first one that comes to mind. So it's another one that's hard to argue against. Spider-Verse, on the other hand, I hate Moreland. I am not a Moreland fan at all, and the whole mystical aspect that Spider-Verse adds into it with the web, and I know that's, I think what was it? JMS did some of them, did Moreland and all that stuff. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like how hard it lead into it. That being said, even though I'm not a fan of the book, don't clip this, but Sean was right in the sense that
there you go.
There should be some representation for a Spider-Man something or other here. It probably won't be my book that I talk about next. But maybe that's more of a condemnation on Spider-Man comics in a dement form. But yeah, this is a pretty solid list. I can't really argue it outside of me not caring much for Spider-Verse itself.
Okay. Oddfell, what do you think of Curtis's list? Our nice Canadian fellow friend up there.
These are straight up 3 books that I came into the show anticipating seeing and anticipating making it to the final list. I mean, obviously we share Spider-Verse, so that one I agree with. Infinity Gauntlet, like I said, that's like that and Civil War were the 2 that I was like, well, these are going to be the easy absolutes. Apocalypse, I absolutely think deserves a place in there, but of the 3, if I had to be so on one, it would be that, but I still think I would want to see Apocalypse in the final 10.
Okay. Lars, what you got anything nice to say?
I have said plenty of nice things all night. Okay, but also some harsh ones. Infinity Gauntlet's on my list, so I will readily go for that one. Spider-Verse, I would have put on my list, but I interpreted it should be between 2 lines. To me, the Spider books are all 1 line, and so I thought that one didn't count. I can easily.
Age of Apocalypse. Age of Apocalypse wouldn't count either. Then
I didn't think I could pick Age of Apocalypse. No,
I think Lars had a big problem with the rules.
Well, it said between 2 lines, and I thought Spider books are 1 line, X-Men books are 1 line. But anyway, I really like Spider-Verse, and I think it's, at this point, Spider-Verse currently is almost as big as Spider-Man. I mean, if you talk to teenagers today, they are really into the Spider-Verse movies and maybe they're not following the Spider-Man ones as closely. I actually own Spider-Verse, and I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. I don't own much Spider-Man, but I really like this one. Probably because I like team books so much. So I'll definitely vote for Spider-Verse. I'm inclined to vote for Age of Apocalypse. My reservation with every time I read Age of Apocalypse, I always feel like it's less than the sum of its parts. I think conceptually it's a knockout. I think somewhat it does knock out. The problem is you have that many art teams, that many writers, that many everything. The quality kind of gets all over the map. It's not consistent at all. And like, if you like Scott Odell, you're maybe not going to like this guy. If you like Joe Madureira, you're maybe not going to like this guy. And so I always find like I'm reading half of it, really not that into it. That's the biggest problem. But it is a big historical event. It resonates a lot. I'll probably vote for it. One last thing. When Age of Apocalypse Wolverine showed up in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, like this whole thing is supposed to be kind of cool, but he was standing there. I'm like, man, he looks like an idiot.
Spoilers.
What the hell? Way to throw shade at something we're not even talking about, Lars.
But you see my point. I mean, maybe some of this isn't quite as cool as we think it is. That was my point. But no,
oh my God,
despite all my reservations, it remains one of the stronger X-Men stories. I'll probably vote for this one, but yeah, I never get quite the enjoyment out of it, so I feel I should.
Okay, Robbie, what do you think of this list, buddy?
Infinity Gauntlet is number 1. Is what it? I mean, I didn't pick it because it's obviously number 1, but Infinity Gauntlet's a perfect choice. Spider-Verse should be evergreen because of the popularity of it and the movies. I love the movies. The 2 movies they've done have been amazing, but man, I'm so freaking tired of Spider-Verse stories. So I have like a disdain for this book because of that. I'm like, oh, I thought we just did the end of the Spider-Verse. Now we're doing Spider Society. What's going on?
Well,
like,
stop reading. You can stop reading.
Oh, I'm a retailer, brother. I still have to order them. So anyway, there's that. Like, I don't read that shit. Anyway, so then there's X-Men Age of Apocalypse. And I thought about putting this on my list. I love the Age of Apocalypse. Like, this came out, 94, 95? I'm like 14, 15 years old. It was a big deal. We were all like, dude, they just changed the X-Men books like forever, But when you're 15, you think that this hasn't been done before, right? Larry, I would disagree with you. It's not the art that is problematic to me. It's the writing. I think the writing is the most atrocious, overblown, overwrought 90s writing ever. Scott Lobdell, Fabian Nicieza. I love Fabian. But this whole thing was just so convoluted and just poorly executed script-wise, in my opinion. However, point me to the Apocalypse story. He's my favorite X-Men villain, but when people go, what's the ultimate Apocalypse story?
X-Factor Endgame.
Okay, maybe, okay. But
Blood of
this is the
Apocalypse.
one that usually pops in mind because I think somebody, Lars maybe has said this, like the concept is so great, right? Like this is a world without Xavier. Apocalypse dominates everything and everything is just completely different and dystopian. And it was super cool, but not everything worked. Not everything landed. And when you reread it, it is incredible. Clunky is a nice word for it, but I still think all three of these deserve to be evergreen.
Yeah.
Man, well put. I don't like the fact that you're quoting Lars this is the second time and being positive about it either. Like,
I like this guy, but I grew up on Wizard Magazine. So
actually, I'll be positive for. And here's the thing about Age of Apocalypse is that there's a lot of it. I'm like, I hit certain miniseries. And I'm like, ugh. You know, the one that I actually found quite touching, X Universe of all things.
That's
a
Carlos Pacheco artwork on that one, right?
It was Carlos Pacheco artwork, and also just the delicacy with which it treated the characters, those particular characters. I was quite moved by that story, actually. Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of it that I'm like,
Peter, what do you think of our buddy Curtis as a human being?
Well, I'm going to take a perspective that sometimes you and Curtis take, which is let's think about the children who are the keys to our future, because I have read these books with Kid Crisis. And I didn't used to like Infinity Gauntlet. I'm not like a huge like Thanos. It just was not what I grew up with because I was an X-Men reader and the X-Men kind of never crossed into this stuff. She was so enamored with all of the kind of big overall talk about a story that I think is like a little overwrought. I'm like, everything's gone, then everything's back, then death won't date Thanos. It like always just seemed kind of like silly and perverse to me. She was glued to it, and through her eyes, I really got to see like why this is a book that kind of any Marvel fan can pick up, because it's almost about the deconstruction of the Marvel universe as much as an alternate universe book. And you don't have to love Thanos, you don't have to love Silver Surfer. It's just like a cool story about like taking things apart and putting things together, and with a lot of cool characters in it. So yeah, I do think it's kind of like the gold standard. It's personally not my favorite. Age of Apocalypse, we're in the midst of the read right now. This morning we read Excalibur issue number 2. I was really afraid to read it with her because it's really heavy. It's very, very dark. It definitely has a lot of it's echoing a lot of themes about the actual world Holocaust and themes of World War II. When I tell you this child is so addicted, she's getting ready for school 10 minutes early so that we can read 2 issues every day instead of just 1. However, I will be voting against this because the omnibus does not have the 2 issues of X-Men Chronicles. I don't think the crossover makes any sense without them, and I think it's bullshit that they're not in the omnibus.
Picky.
Really? The Terry Dodson and Ian Churchill?
I think X-Men Chronicles issue number 1 is one of the best X-Men issues of all time. And then Spider-Verse, yeah, I like teams. And so Spider-Man as a team, I don't need to I think everybody else said all the good points about it. It's a little messy. Yeah, but it's just so fun. I always will vote for fun. And so I'm kind of on the fence about Spider-Verse. And also Age of Apocalypse. I don't think the Chronicles issues, or no, what the Marvel X-Men universe issues are enough to make this line wide. It's an X-Men book. Like, that's not what we're here to do today. So I of all of the ones that I would disqualify, I absolutely would personally disqualify Age of Apocalypse.
Okay. All right. Next up is Tyler from the Comic Pals podcast again. Tyler, you made a comment about your co-host Sean borrowing, he said, copying and pasting the BuzzFeed Kevin Feige list, huh?
I might have.
Yeah, that was pretty witty. Whatever the opposite of that is,
get his ass. Thank you. Get him.
Is what you did. Now, this is a very brave move. This is your first time on the channel, and maybe there's people that haven't seen you here before or watched the Comic Pals. So you are representing your channel, and you came in with Dark Web and Original Sin and Siege. Siege has some great artwork. It's an okay story. Original Sin has a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Part of it is being confused. You're a new reader, and it's just a kind of a dull story. It's got good art, though. I do like Mike Deodato. All right, I like what you said about Dark Web being stupid fun. I don't think I can argue against that. I did have fun reading it. It is so stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
It's X-Men versus puppies at one point.
Like, it's not even a sequel to Inferno as I thought it was going to be. it's just not a good story, but it's stupid fun. I can't believe I think I've made like that out of the three might be the one that gets my vote because I just don't think the other two are worthy of Evergreen. Original Sin can be convoluted. It's confusing. There are a lot of characters. And you may have to know a little bit about some of those characters, like Nick Fury and the importance of somebody like the Watcher. Siege is the payoff to this one big era of Dark Avengers. So I don't know if that's a good one. That's kind of like what Peter's problem is, or not Peter, I'm sorry. It might have been Peter, whoever had the problem with the War of the Realms, like being the tail end of a particular story, because this is the payoff of the buildup of the Dark Reign era. And if you hadn't read Dark Reign, then you don't know just how important it was for them to take down Norman Osborn and how important it was to reunite the Avengers again, because Thor had been missing for so many years. Yeah, they're all bad choices. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think Dark Web might be the one that might actually pass, though. That's not. At least it's got fun going for it. I'm gonna let somebody else go ahead, talk though. Larry, what do you think of these choices, man? You've been reading comics for 45 years.
I haven't read Dark Web. I need to finish Original Sin. I like what I've read of it. Siege, I really loved Siege a lot. I thought it was solid, but I'm kind of like you. I'm not sure that would work, as a standalone at all. I think you would kind of need to have read the Dark Reign stuff, and so I don't know. I'm not sure it would work. I love it, but
okay. Sean, what do you think of your buddy Tyler's choices here?
Okay, so first of all, let me apologize. This is not the best showing for the Comics Pals podcast. We do generally have better taste than this. Not my man here, but the rest of us. I am a proponent of Siege. I like Siege a lot, but it is a capper, and I think if you were going to choose a Bendis era event, it would not be Siege. So I would disqualify it off that. Original Sin is kind of fun. It's got the Mike Deodato art, which is cool, but I just don't think that there's anything here that's going to light people on fire in the sense that this needs to be produced in perpetuity. Is it a fun read? Yes, but does it need to be on every shelf for all time? Absolutely not. And Dark Web just crazy. Like, I don't generally like comics like this. I read the first couple of issues and I was like, cool, I'm gonna head out. And I did head out. I don't think that this is what we need if we're looking for Spider-Man representation. I still believe that Spider-Verse, whether it's a better book or not, just has more Spider characters, and that world is wider now. So I would rather an event that features Miles and Spider-Gwen and everybody else over Dark Web, which is just nuts.
Okay. It is a better story than Dark Web. I will say that. I'll just go ahead and, I'll say it. Let me get this from Amin and Perez. Dark Web did give us the best superhero of all time. And never thought I would read this. Rec Rap. Tyler might have a point here.
I'm glad I'm opening eyes.
Do you guys know who Rec Rap is?
Unfortunately.
Okay. I don't know.
I
Lars,
have
do
that
you know who Rec Rap is?
I didn't make it all the way through Dark Web, so maybe I didn't read that bit.
Okay, Rec Rap. So you don't know who Rec Rap is?
I don't remember that at all.
Now look at that word and read it backwards.
Okay. Okay.
It's that kind of story.
All has become clear now.
Okay. Curtis, what do you think about Tyler's list here?
Well, Tyler, I don't know you very well, and I don't want to come off as a hater, but I don't think I can go for any of these picks. Unfortunately, as much as I love Siege, I actually really do like that story. But as it's been stated before, it's the end of a. It's not just good to just pick it up and read. It needs a lot of context, I think. And then I'm just not a fan of those other two stories. In fact, I've only read half of Dark Web, so maybe I can't comment. I don't know how it ends. But that's, sorry about that, Tyler.
That's the nicest way to tear me apart. I appreciate it.
I thought he was going to go with, I don't
He's
think
Canadian,
we can be
so
friends.
comes with the
Oh,
territory.
okay, yeah.
I was hoping he would be like, I don't think we can be friends, Tyler. Your choices are
That's
bad.
honestly where I thought it was going. Yeah,
I
it's
love how he
no,
was
you
like, I
can't
don't
sit
want to be
here.
too mean, but I can't get behind this list.
Like, you need to kill yourself. This was awful.
He says I'm not the positive
Omar.
one. My God.
Oddfell, why don't you give Tyler some love here? Like, what do you got to say?
Oh,
No pressure. Just love all of his choices.
Yeah,
Go.
These are good.
Yeah,
He needs to get some positivity.
so of this list, I could see Siege or Original Sin maybe making it to the final 10, but with a lot of the heavy hitters we have and having to narrow it down to 10, I don't know if I would vote for any of these yet. But I think of these, Siege and Original Sin are definitely maybes. It just kind of depends on which ones we end up getting through and how many spots we have. Original Sin is confusing, but it is a really good time and the art is pretty. So if I had to pick one, probably that one.
Okay, that was as positive as Oddfell got. Lars, actually, I saw Lars' comment, so this is going to be really interesting how Lars is going to turn the tables here. Lars, what do you got to say about that everybody has been hating on so far?
Yes, well, I first am going to, like a member of Congress, yield the floor to my colleague Peter that we might team up to defend Original Sin. Peter, hit it.
Original Sin, you have DC reprinting Identity Crisis over and over book, which is one of the worst comics ever written. But it's provable that people like when you take heroes and you put them into a different setting, right? Like a mystery setting. Well, that's what Original Sin is. And the idea that you've got to people are going to be confused. It has no tie-in to any other story. It just starts and ends. Like there's nothing to be confused about. And then the idea of it doesn't tie into anything. Good. Sometimes people want to go into a comic book store and just be like, yo, I like the Thing. Is there a book where the Thing is cool? And also Punisher. Hey, guess what? In this book, they're with Emma Frost. Go crazy. I don't understand this need for everything to be like a media tie-in or for everything to perfectly encapsulate some story that came. This is just a cool standalone thing with a cool cast and cool art and a cool mystery. Why are we such haters? This is the most fun read, I think, cold, if nobody's ever just vaguely knows Marvel characters and doesn't want to get their toes into the whole stream of Marvel continuity. This might be the best pick out of all of our picks.
Wait, no, Peter, because if you want to offer people drugs, you want to give them the good stuff so they can come back. You don't want to start putting in the baking soda in there from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? No, this is not how the point of it.
I'm from Iowa, where we have a lot of cheap math.
I don't even want to talk about
we are all
cheap math unite. New Zealand stands with you, Lars.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just gonna echo what Peter said. Yeah, I really Original Sin doesn't have the best reputation. I really like it. And I think you're right. I don't think it is confusing because I think pretty much anybody can understand the Watcher is the bald guy on the moon who's supposed to kind of observe things and he's killed. And Nick Fury is this kind of badass, long-lived World War II spy type. I don't think the basic elements there are that hard to understand. I found it to be a compelling story. As you say, I thought the orb was hilarious. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very strong. Now, I kind of agree with Oddfell that maybe it just won't make the top 10. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very, very strong. And I own a copy, which is always... Oh, weirdly, I don't own that many comics. For me, if I own it...
You own Original Sin.
I do own Original Sin, yeah. Dark Web, I hear what Omar's saying about... It was fun, but... I mean, if that's the best you can say about it, there are a lot of books that are kind of fun. A lot. And
out of Tyler's picks?
Well, I was never quite sold on the premise of this. It's like, we'll team up and be evil because we're clones. And I'm like,
that makes sense to me.
I guess. Well, okay, weirdly, this is contrary
to
the
only clones, but we were rejected.
Yeah, I hear you. Weirdly, I almost feel like this is the kryptonite to the member of the I can't remember who it was, but they were in the feed on this channel who said that Ben Reilly was their favorite character ever.
Omnibo.
Okay. Omnibo. Because
I don't know how he feels about Chasm though.
Yeah, because Ben Reilly has every reason to try to steal Peter Parker's life and be evil, and he's not evil, and that's what makes him heroic. Whereas here, he's just kind of out and out evil. I couldn't get there with Dark Web. I don't think I finished it. I think I read an issue or two and couldn't quite get into it. And Siege, I actually can defend Bendis. I'm maybe one of the bigger Bendis defenders on this channel. But with the big events like Secret Invasion and Siege with Bendis, there was always a sense that, well, we're doing this because we need to do big event books and they'll sell, rather than we are inspired to have a great story. So I always found his big events kind of shaky. But I certainly agree with Original Sin. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Robbie, as the only dealer of comics in the panel, what do you think about this?
This is the worst list of anybody's. Like no lie. Like Tyler, no offense. Comics Pals, I've watched y'all. Y'all got a great podcast, got a great channel.
Thank you.
Everybody
so
go
much.
check it out, especially when you have like creator interviews and stuff. Y'all do a great job. I'm actually kind of a fan. But your list, Tyler,
Kind of.
blows. It's really bad. All right. So Siege, I like Siege, and I'm a defender of Bendis's whole like era of like manipulating Marvel's like history, right? Like I love that stuff. But Siege is a ultra truncated end to the Dark Reign run, right? Like Dark Reign, I thought all that stuff in between Secret Invasion and Siege was amazing. But Siege was like a very quick wrap up for me. Original Sin, yeah, it stands as a cool, like decent mystery or whatever, but it sucks as an event. It really does. It just does not work. Doesn't belong on this list. Dark Web. Nobody please take offense to this, but I would rather have my balls dipped in honey and sit on an anthill and read Original Sin than read Dark Web again. 100%. That book sucks. That's all I got.
I'd like to take you up on that bet.
Oh, you think that would be bad? Okay.
I've heard worse,
I'd like
honestly.
to take you up on that bet, and we'll take it to YouTube.
Surely there's been a YouTube video along those lines. Yeah.
That is a very, very specific video you're looking for already.
It is.
We'll get 5 views worldwide.
And they all love Atlantis Attacks. I'll add one thing to that, is that I think a lot of you are being babies about Siege.
Oh my God.
It's like, honestly, of all the Bendis events, is it my favorite? Maybe. It's just, like, again, I don't think it's hard to understand. Asgard's on Earth. Bad things are happening. The Trinity went through a messy breakup, but their throuple is getting back together. Like, I just think we overcomplicate some of these things. It's about 3 men in a committed, loving relationship fighting a force of chaos. Okay,
I'm with you. I love Siege.
So you're saying the X-Men were not the first Marvel throuple? Okay.
Well, not according to Tom Brevoort.
Okay. Right. Well, yeah. Quite.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
like Siege. And Siege is one of those ones, too, where, again, I think I would say the same thing about this as we did about Civil War, where it has, like, moments in the main book, and Bendis only has 4 issues in the main book. And so then all of the tie-ins get to be fun because, like, you get one moment of the Thunderbolts fighting in the main book, and then you go read Thunderbolts. You get one moment of, like, the kind of, like, eerie the prophecy that's happening, and then you've got to go read the New Mutants tie-in. Like, there's also the Loki one-shot from, I believe, Gillen. So good. There's things that I like in events that make that event great for me. And one of those things is that snapshot thing where the main book just has little snapshots. And then if you like it, you go to the tie-ins and read it. We're way overdue for an omnibus. This is one of the only ones in this that doesn't have a complete version. That's only in OHC. I think Siege is a lot of fun. If people have not read it, I think it's actually like way, way better than its reputation gives it. Am I going to vote for it? TBD. But I really do genuinely like it a lot.
You're not going to vote for it. We all know that. Come on.
You never know where these things are going to go. Okay, everybody. Now it's Oddfell's turn. Let's have at it. All right, Oddfell. Spider-Verse. Like I said, I think, believe it or not, I think that might actually get the vote. Now, you've done this before on the channel where you just everybody's having a good time, and you come in, you throw a wrench, and you're like, "Fuck your good time. I'm just gonna mess it up for you." And this time you brought 2, like you brought a backup, like one with Empire, and wow, okay, X-Men Avengers Onslaught. What was it, that thing that Robbie said about sitting on an anthill?
Do you remember when people said they would vote in books for being fun?
Yeah, that's not my idea of fun. Look, it is the absolute. Is it the worst? Is it the worst X-Men comic? No, it's not. There's been a lot worse. We've survived a lot worse. But it was the event that ended my love of comics, and I left comics for a long time. I didn't come back until the ending of New X-Men, launching X-Men. So, of course, and I have to take myself out of the equation because we are talking about top sellers and we are talking about evergreen and what determines to be an evergreen, which is why Civil War was okay. I just feel like Onslaught is such a convoluted mess that in its years of years of bad stories that lead up to one bad story that just doesn't go anywhere, except for Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee ended up with these characters for a year. Oh, God bless you. That probably will.
For Rob Liefeld, it was only 6 months. So,
but we did get Jeff Loeb. We did get Jeff Loeb out of that. We got Jeff Loeb out of that, and
I'm hearing more negatives.
Oh my God, I forgot you're a monster.
This is also a book with like everyone though. You got F4, you've got Hulk, you've got Avengers, you've got X-Men.
It is. Oh God, Empire. I think I'd rather read Empire. At least Empire has some skitty artwork. It's got some fun miniseries, and there's like a big marriage that happens in it. We finally get the union of these big alien races that have been at war together. Woo! Onslaught, though. Yeah, I don't know. That's the one. Like, it's hard to personally hate something and also try to find the good in it, which is basically it ended. That was good. But I do love the fact that Onslaught is so popular that there are 2 Road to Onslaught Omnis coming out and 1 Onslaught Aftermath Omnibus. I don't think we've had an X-Men event that has had that many Omnis around it.
When I was looking at it, I don't know if it was the OHCs or omnibuses, but there was 4 issues for just the event, like compendiums. I don't know if they were OHCs or omnibuy, but that's like insane.
Oh, the omnibus
originally it was a series of paperbacks long before it ever got an omnibus, and there were 2 different versions of the series of paperbacks which did not line up with each other, so you had to like know which set of paperbacks that was like back when I first started crushing comics. It took like hours to work out what the order was and the 2 of them, and
the best one's like the complete Onslaught, right? There's like 4 volumes of that. I think that's your best bet to go, but just go buy all the single issues. They're not expensive, and just make your own order up. Like, it's fine.
So yeah, I still love you. I think you're a good human being.
Wow, that's very high praise.
You bring a good fight.
As far as I'm aware, you don't strangle puppies. I mean, this is really high praise.
But you come in with the choices, man, which is good, right? Because we do need a difference of opinion and we need to be open-minded. But that Onslaught book can go to hell. And you're not the only one that brought Onslaught either. I think my buddy Robbie just
no, who would have thought that?
I did not see that coming. I brought him here to the panel for a reason. That's all I will say for now. I'm gonna let Larry, why don't you kick it off, man? What do you think of this list?
I don't think I can do any of these. I haven't read Empire or Spider-Verse, and Onslaught. No, that's did not enjoy that. That is
okay. Sean.
Okay, so I've already said my piece about Spider-Verse. I think it's in. Onslaught. A guy on my podcast named Marco lost a bet with me, and what he had to do was buy and read every single issue of Onslaught. That was the punishment. Onslaught was a punishment on my show. So the fact that it is here right now tells me that it has to be invalid. I feel like this is a punishment to buy someone this, to give this to them. You're not giving them a gift. It's the equivalent of giving them coal, really expensive coal. I think Onslaught is just not it. Empire is actually more disappointing to me than Onslaught because I was really looking forward to Empire. And I thought there were some good ideas coming in and some things that I was really interested in. And the Fantastic Four were just recently back from banishment by Marvel. And this just shit the bed, honestly. I really wanted to love it. I don't. I can't imagine a reason why Empire should stay perpetually published.
Okay. Curtis, you're a nice Canadian. What do you got to say?
I hate all of these. No, just joking.
Yes.
I actually really like Spider-Verse, of course, that was in my pick, so I'm going to have to give it a big old thumbs up for that one. Empire, yeah, I agree with that. Empire, I'm not a fan of either. I read that one and the Fantastic Four tie-ins and the whole thing. It was like I really wanted to enjoy it, but I just only read it because I was trying to read all of the Fantastic Four issues, and like that, and I always jump on the events in order to give those context. But that one I didn't enjoy. Onslaught, you know, for me, the nostalgia factor is a little high on that one. I really like that era. It was a big deal when it came out. Not sure if I will vote for that one to be in a top 10 though. So, but we'll see how all the rest of them play out.
You know, it got mentioned twice, so you should think about it a little bit further.
It's true.
All
It's true.
Tyler, what do you think of Oddfell's list?
I spoke about Spider-Verse, how I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think it on a top 10 it might work. Onslaught, I have not read Onslaught because of opinions like yours, Omar. Like that's the vibe I've gotten from Onslaught for so long.
That's just my personal opinion, though. I think everybody should read everything and judge for themselves. It's just when we're thinking about an evergreen list, is why I had to express my strong opinions on it. But
it's just everyone I've talked to about it pretty much has that opinion. So I was like, all right, well, where there's smoke, there's fire.
It's been reprinted twice. Like I said, out of all the X-Men events, it's got the most omnis built around it. So there is a lot of love for it.
Probably makes a great bludgeoning tool if you need it in a pinch. Empire, I kind of like Empire. That's I believe it was Valerio Sheedy on art on that one. Al Ewing as well. It kind of Ewing has been seeding something in his Marvel work, and this did a lot of it as well. I don't know if that justifies it being on a top 10 evergreen Marvel stuff list. I like it. It's good looking. I really like how it introduced the Skrull and the Kree kids that the Fantastic Four now has, and that adds a new layer to Valeria and Franklin's role on the team. But I don't know if I can justify it on the list. Personally, I like it, but yeah.
Okay. Lars, you have anything nice to say about Oddfell? No, not at all. He's muted. He's that much appalled by your list.
No, yes, I am that much overcome with emotion. Oh, about Oddfell? Many good things. Many good things. Oddfell, I too hope to be at the X-Men experience, and if you have time for dinner's on me.
Hey, buddy, on your own dime.
I'm just being friendly. But no, well, Spider-Verse, yes. Spider-Verse is absolutely get behind that. As we said many good things about it. No problem. I would decline to vote for the other two. So.
That was the nicest Lars has been tonight. Like he didn't say pieces of garbage. Like he was like, I am declined to vote for the. Okay, Lars, I see you over there.
Robbie. Well, the one note on Onslaught. When I remember when Onslaught was coming out, for me, there was a sense that the X-Men books after Age of Apocalypse were kind of floundering. And it's like they didn't really have direction. They were kind of on a descent. And then Onslaught kind of confirmed that for me, that they hadn't quite pulled things together. I don't think the idea of, like, again, Charles Xavier has an evil self. It's like, okay. I don't think that's a very strong story concept in itself. So, but yeah, I will not vote for either of those.
But they're doing it again. So,
well, they keep doing it. When you run out of ideas, you do Xavier as evil, as you say. So,
Robbie, what do you think of this list, buddy? I know you.
I think Oddfell is one of my new best friends because of her Onslaught pick. Onslaught's dope. Onslaught's great. And need I remind you that nobody gave any kind of F's about the Fantastic Four. My favorite comic book of all time since John Byrne's run until Onslaught. And it forced people to recognize the importance of the first family of Marvel. So I will always love and defend Onslaught because all these Omar, you're an X-Men fan. You know that there's all these things that are teased out, the legacy virus, the 12. they all suck when they get paid off. But the X-Trader being revealed, that was a big freaking deal. Yo.
That was so stupid.
It was awesome. What? I don't, whatever. Omar, dude, I thought we were best friends.
You knew who the X-Trader was in that one issue with 287.
Oh, whatever. No, you didn't know. You didn't. This was a big deal for X-Men fans, but it was a bigger deal for me as a Fantastic Four fan to see my dudes get their props. And I think Onslaught, we're talking about X-Men and Avengers crossovers, but here's the thing. It's a Fantastic Four X-Men Avengers crossover, right? And like, when you're reading Fantastic Four and this new kid shows up and he's befriending Franklin Richards and you find out that it's actually Charles Xavier, that was the first time when I was reading that I was like, holy crap, what's going on? What's this Onslaught thing? I loved it. So but out of all the X-Men Avengers stories, this is way better than Axis or AVX or even that Avengers versus the X-Men or the Fantastic Four versus the X-Men they did in the 80s. This is the best crossover. And here's the thing. You got to remember, in the 90s, it was all about the X-Men crossovers, Fatal Attraction. Well, even before that, right? Mutant Massacre, into Follow the Mutants, into this, into that, Fatal Attractions, blah, blah, blah. But when Onslaught came in, it actually involved, in a very integral role, the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. That's why this is evergreen to me, because it is truly all of them building up. Spider-Verse, I don't like, but it should be evergreen. Empire didn't work for me, but I'm not going to say anything bad about it because you picked Onslaught. So there you go.
You were supposed to say things you didn't dig about her choices, but I love that you just went on a 10-minute spiel.
I'm defending my upcoming round, brother.
Yeah, you're thinking ahead. You're playing chess. I see that. Peter, bring it home. What do you think of these choices, buddy?
Robbie just touched me somewhere really special with his
oh dear,
the honey on an egg
about the quality of Onslaught. Like Omar, I quit comics because the lead up to Onslaught was so bad. But I do think there's something, first of all, like time heals all wounds. And like sometimes things that were terrible at that time turn out to be fun to read in retrospect. And I do think there's something to the idea that like now for a reader to just pick up Onslaught and read it all in one go in this omnibus and not have to like wait the interminable 12 months of the road to Onslaught teasing little by little to get there. I do think it's a lot more palatable in this context. Is it the best collected X-Men and Avengers story that we could read? I don't know. I will say, though, I'm a massive Tom DeFalco Fantastic Four fan. And so for that reason, I do like Onslaught. And I agree with you terrifically. However, Empire, it takes a lot for me to come out against a book that is primarily about a gay wedding. But Empire has all the excitement of watering plants and then all the excitement of pruning plants. That's the story. The story is about plants. They stand in the throne room and they're like, there's plants. And then they're like, but maybe the plants aren't so bad. And then the plants like come to the throne room and they argue. And then they're like, hey, let's have a wedding. I just recapped Empire for you. None of you need to read it now. It doesn't have to be evergreen. People can just tune into that 10 seconds because it is the most boring watching paint dry, watching plants grow story that there has ever been from Marvel. And that's even with it being gay, which is usually my thing.
Wow.
It's gay and it's got plants. What more could you ask for?
Oh my gosh.
May I
Poison Ivy,
may I offer a quick sidebar? No.
Go ahead,
on Onslaught, you know where the idea of like the dark side of Xavier's mind has manifested as something dangerous. You know where that was done first? X-Men and the Micronauts. X-Men and the Micronauts comics, which are in fact better than Onslaught.
Oh,
go Micronaut. Michael Golden.
Yeah, we don't. Let's not go and break my heart again with that. Okay. All right.
May I offer my backup in this trying time since 2 of my 3 are double dips?
What?
2 of my 3 are also on someone else's list, and we've talked a lot about the one I have as a backup. And to throw more chaos into the pool.
Oh my God! What'd you bring? The Dark Phoenix saga?
No.
Okay.
X-Men and the Micronauts, which is a crossover.
So my backup pick, which I did end up overlapping with people, is Dark Reign.
Dark Reign's great.
Which would you
Yeah,
replace out
fabulous.
of the three?
I feel like Spider-Verse is the safest to make it.
I don't like that Oddfell is playing a dangerous game here by assuming.
here's
Well,
the
I'm
thing,
getting
like,
rid
there's
of one that I
no-
know will probably get
There's
in.
no collection of Dark Reign. It's not.
Oh,
there's
is there
no, like,
not?
central?
There's
book
the
that
Dark
you
Reign,
know.
the list, and that's it.
Yeah.
How odd.
I don't feel like Dark Reign
Because
is an event. By the
It's like
criteria
a
here.
banner. It's like the Age of
Yeah.
Hero or Heroic Age.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
great
sure-
though. Like the omnibus, if they eventually do it, will flap. It will be a very,
Wait.
very fun read. But like,
Yeah,
there's just nothing to buy right now.
Wikipedia describes it as comic book branding.
Yeah. That's what it is. And as a retailer, that kind of shit sucks. Because then people go, I want every Dark Reign book. And you're like, what does that mean? Like, do you want everything with the thing on it? Or do you want every
As
like
a retailer, you know what that means, Robbie. You give them everything.
No, I think what she's saying is everything between Secret Invasion and Siege rocks at Marvel, and it does. When Norman's in charge,
it
he's
does.
got the Cabal. That's some dope stuff, yo.
Frankencastle, awesome.
Frankencastle's great.
Dark
because you know
X-Men.
what? At least they went for it.
Yeah, that whole period is banging.
Yeah.
All
Dark
right,
Avengers was awesome.
Lars playing it pretty safe for the most part. Him and Curtis playing it pretty safe, with the exception of
again,
AB.
I mean, I'm entertained. This is not the list I thought I'd be defending, but yes, let's go for it. Let's go for
You
it.
stop saying that. Okay, I'm actually with you on Infinity Gauntlet, and God, I hate to admit it, but sure, Civil War. AVX is the only one I have problems with, but I can kind of see it on the list because it's Avengers versus X-Men. It's got the Phoenix Force, which does it make any lick of sense? No, not at all. It retcons so much. It's stupid. It's a stupid fun. Probably more like Dark Web stupid fun. Would I rather see this on the list than Dark Web? Yeah, okay, probably. So that's a maybe. That's really all I have to say about your list, Lars. It's mainly focusing on AVX. It's a dumb story with pretty artwork from time to time. Feels like a video game at times with those AVX stories that are in there.
It's a sort of story that people just want to keep seeing, and like it's not even necessarily my cup of tea, but like they just want to see, oh, if the Avengers fight the X-Men, what would happen? I mean, people do this all the time when they come up to me and go, who would win in a fight? And I usually go, I don't care who would win in a fight, but they care. They really care, and I think people want to read this.
No, okay. We'll go backwards. Robbie, what do you think of this list?
I'm sorry, I was typing a comment. What'd you say? What did I think about this list? Okay, Infinity Gauntlet for sure, Civil War for sure, AVX. I feel bad because I'm a big Hickman guy, right? And I think Hickman wrote this issue, but there's a Wolverine Captain America fight. He gets kicked out of a plane very quickly. He lands in the Arctic. No, he lands in the Antarctic, right? Antarctica. And he's fighting a polar bear, which don't exist there. That kind of bothers me a little bit. There's too many cooks in the kitchen for AVX for me. This is something that should have been a bigger deal. It was a big deal when it came out. So, I mean, I do think actually all three of these, and I don't think this is Lars's actual list, right? Because you had a revised list or whatever, but we're not getting into that controversy right now.
Okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's more fun. It's honestly, it's more fun this way, so it's fine.
All three of these books are nonstop sellers at my shop. You know what I'm saying? They're like, everybody wants them. Everybody wants them. And I think they should all be evergreen. But AVX, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It was fun at the time. But there's too many cooks in the kitchen for that one. Right? Well, like 100%. But Onslaught's great and way better than AVX.
What the hell? Where did
Ooh,
you
oh dear.
where did that come from, Robbie?
Oh,
All right. Oddfell, what do you think of this list? I guess your thoughts on AVX really is what we need.
Yeah, I would. Again, this is another list of 3 that I expected to see when coming in here. So, like, I fully see AVX being in the top 10.
So Lars, you're being called a
it was
basic
a-
bitch.
Well, no, like as Robbie said, these are 3 that we could never keep in stock. These were 3 that people always asked for. Like when people come in and they're like kind of newer to comics, like, oh, Avengers and X-Men, yes, I want this book. And even though I'm personally also not a fan of AVX, I can't deny that people are constantly talking about this one or wanting to read this one or wanting to pick it up. even if they haven't read anything around it, like personally, I do like Bendis X-Men, even though I don't like this event. But this is one where I see a lot of new readers coming in and being like, oh, Avengers versus X-Men. Yeah, let's do that. So I think I could see all three making the top 10.
And you know that AVX is going to be a movie soon, right? Like they're just, I mean,
eventually.
It's like if you work at Marvel and you don't suggest that, you're fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, for sure.
Here, in a way, with this list, here I'm trying to give the people what they want. But yeah, no, the accusation that you're basic, sure, yeah, I'll take that. That's okay.
It's all right. I would just
at the
replace
same
AVX
time,
with
though,
Secret Wars.
I mean, at the same time, though, imagine if no one came with these picks and we didn't have Infinity Gauntlet or Civil War or AVX on a list, like we would be killed.
Yeah. We thought you were all going to have these picks. So we were trying to do something different, like Onslaught.
I did too. So these were the safe bets, and I'm glad somebody played it safe.
I'm sorry to be so predictable. Yeah.
No, it's not predictability. It's safe. And I think we need a safe guy in this panel. You and Curtis are those safety nets. That's okay. Tyler, are these safe enough for you? What do you think of this list?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all talked about Infinity Gauntlet and Civil War enough at this point. But I think AVX is an interesting pick. It didn't even occur to me, but seeing it on this list, it actually makes a ton of sense. I mean, it's literally like I talked about dumb fun with Dark Web, and Omar mentioned it. But this is like a dude with his action figures. Like it's just, oh, let's have Iron Man fight Magneto. Somehow Iron Man won. But it's just, I don't know. It's just something simple about it that's just really easy. And I agree. It's good for, I don't want to say the casuals, but new readers can just jump into this. It's a title that just explains itself. Really.
Would you say it's better than Dark Web?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good save, Tyler.
Talk
Curtis,
to me after the show. Might have a different opinion. But
what do you think?
Go ahead.
Damn it.
Muted.
Curtis, that's strike 3.
What was strike 2?
I was so angry I forgot to count. Sorry. Strike 2. Go on.
Okay, Infinity Gauntlet's on my list, so enough said. Civil War was actually, I've already made an argument for that one. It was my runner-up pick, so I will I kind of give that one a thumbs up as well. AVX I actually really enjoyed. It's been a long time since I read it, but I don't remember much from it. I remember that it made a big impact in how I viewed Cyclops in that one, and I thought it was for X-Men fans and for people who are fans of Cyclops. I think it's a good story, and it's just great again to see heroes fighting each other. You don't get to see that mashup every once in a while, very often. So, I think it's a good pick. I would pick it for Evergreen.
Okay, Sean, what do you safe bet here, or what do you got to say about AVX?
I won't comment on the other two. AVX is the most disappointing Marvel event of all time for me.
All time.
I was looking forward to this like you couldn't imagine, and this was arguably the biggest letdown of anything I've ever read in comics because it seemed like a perfect recipe. I didn't realize it was a recipe for disaster, but that's what we ended up getting. The less said really about the event, the better. That being said, though, objectively, I think that what Robbie and Oddfell said is on point, which is that if a random individual who has very little experience in comics walks into a shop, they might not even know the name, but they might say to you, hey, is there a story where the Avengers and X-Men fight? And you should always be able to say yes, and here it is. And so for that reason, at this point in our discussion, this passes the test for me.
You're in it for the money. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I thought that's what we were here to talk about.
Isn't that why we
We're making
make
it rain?
comics?
We're making it rain.
Yeah.
We need comics to make more money, then we would have better comics.
There you go.
I picked Dark Web, so I guess I was playing a different game.
Peter, Larry, you've been so quiet, Larry. You want to tear in Lars now? Is your chance?
Please do.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe. I mean, Gauntlet, of course. Civil War, yes. AVX, I thought the Jim Chung art was fabulous. Way better than the story, though. But I can see why it's popular, so it's a maybe.
Okay. Wow. Man of many words. Okay, Larry. Peter. Have at it, buddy.
I just hate AVX so much. And I don't just hate it because it's like a bad X-Men story just to make the Avengers look cool because they were about to have a movie. But I hate it because the JRJR art is terrible. I hate it because it doesn't make any sense. I hate it because there's an extensive training montage with Iron Fist and Hope because suddenly the Phoenix is part of Iron Fist lore for this like one story. It's just bad, you know? And I think that there can be popular comics that everybody wants and that they'll sell out and that are readable. But if they're bad comics, I don't know if that's good for our industry and our pastime and the thing that we love. And so I really try to resist like referring people to read bad comics, even when they're a little bit fun, if they're just really badly crafted. And I think AVX is one of the worst crafted comic books of the last 25 years. So that's a no from me, dog.
I really like that point, actually, because I would rather sell many comics over just one. If somebody comes in, their first comic is AVX, they may not come back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
I want
mean,
people to come
here's
back.
Here's the thing, though. You say that, and yet again, the ratings for it on Amazon and Goodreads are very high. Like on Amazon, this has 4.5 stars out of 5. And I
but those
think
are like Russian sex bots, Lars. Anybody can buy those.
No, Jim Chung and John Romita Jr.'s like multiple accounts.
Russian sex bots, if their money's good, then I would say take it. You know,
It's all the writers and all the artists, right?
No,
if you look, it's
I
like
think-
out of 15 reviews.
I think this is a sort of story that, you know, casual readers are kind of forgiving about, or they go, well, I was entertained. I mean, they're entertained.
Yeah, it's why people think comics are dumb and trivial, and they think the MCU is cool, which is actually the other way around, right? Comics are amazing, and the MCU is stupid.
Do we want somebody's first movie? Do we want somebody's first movie to be Fast and Furious Part 7?
But
they
the
might
thing is that they might, like, if they're inclined to have that kind of fun, then yeah, right? Like AVX.
But yet there's some people who are like, hey, my first movie was Fast and Furious 7, and it was great.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't think Fast and Furious 7 should be part of the top 10 movies of all time.
No, no, maybe not. No.
I don't even know which one that is. I think I got drunk one night and watched like
that's the one where they like skydive the cars down, dude. It's great. Fast 7 is
better than
great,
AVX.
Awesome. Yes.
Is that where they send Ludacris to space?
I
No,
love that
that's
it's
part
just
9. I'm very familiar with the Fast franchise, just so you know. So check out PCP if you want to see our movie night. So there you go.
All right.
This one does incite a lot of debate because from memory, I recall.
Look out, Lars, how are we still talking about your list?
Hold on, it's important, Omar. It's important. From memory, I remember my take on it was that the Avengers were right and the X-Men were wrong, and yet there was someone a few shows ago passionately arguing that the Avengers were, or there was the opposite.
You know what?
And
you know who lost? The reader. The reader lost in this stupid event. That's who lost.
Well
That's
said.
all that matters. Okay. All right. Next up is Robbie with his. Oh God, Robbie. I thought we were friends. You brought Onslaught. I thought Oddfell was going to throw the wrench in the plan, but you.
Right, I didn't want to come on your channel for the first time and be like Civil War, Infinity Gauntlet, and Secret Wars. You know, I didn't want to be that.
No,
that
and I think you did the right thing. You did the right thing. Honestly, I could see X-Men, Avengers, Onslaught. You guys seem to speak really passionate about it. Like I get it. Secret Wars, I think, is a good one. I think we've spoken enough about it. Maximum Carnage is an interesting one because I can see. I mean, there are 3. I'm going to say it again. 3 Venom movies coming out. Are they any good? No, none of them are good. Well,
I agree. We're best friends again.
like, none of them are good. But there's a fan base for Venom, which is just crazy. Would Maximum Carnage be the event, the Spider-Man event / symbiote event? I think that's the thing. Like, what makes it in the final 10? I like that event. It was a lot of fun. I still have fond memories of the video game that came with the red cartridge of the Super Nintendo nostalgia goggles, though. You know, so. Yeah, that's kind of I'm in between on that one. Like I'm somewhere in the middle of Maximum Carnage. Like because it's definitely nostalgia driven. Like Carnage was just so nuts in it. We got Shriek. We got maybe Dagger might have died. No, she didn't. No,
Dagger died. She came back. It's fine.
Within
that happens all the time.
Within the same event.
Yeah. Yeah, within the same
Uh,
event. But I mean, we
yeah.
get some cool stuff. You got the video game, but and I was worried about this one, Omar, because I was like, this feels like a spider-centric crossover. But then
Well,
when
I
I
mean,
started thinking about it,
I mean, there's
Deathlock,
Captain
Captain
America, though. Like,
America.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
there's
got a lot of
Captain
other
America.
characters in it. I know because
Yeah.
when I do my comic guides, I have to constantly reread freaking Maximum Carnage because all these people appear in it that I have to recap.
That's
So yeah,
awful.
I do think it has a pretty big cast of characters.
Is it insanity that I don't read Marvel and yet I'm here paying attention?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is a
No,
great
it's
channel with
not.
great people. So there you go.
Not insanity. As a
I
massive
will say
psycho-
since I'm talking anyway.
yeah, go ahead.
Maximum Carnage. So Kid Crisis read the history of the Marvel Universe just so she could like ask me questions about stuff outside of X-Men since she specialized in X-Men. And she specifically asked for me to give her a copy of Maximum Carnage to read. I was like, that was the thing that stuck out from you from all of that. So of course, in solidarity with my friend Curtis, I gave her the Epic collection of Maximum Carnage, which at the time was really the most expedient way to do it. She loves it. She rereads it all the time. And in rereading it with her, I was kind of reminded that like Maximum Carnage is from the era where an event like everything paid off. Everything that got set up about Carnage, which wasn't a lot before the event, all very much pays off during Maximum Carnage. It has a satisfying finale. It takes Venom in a certain place. I think one of the problems with a lot of the modern events that we picked, me included, is that because Marvel is so much about like constantly threading things into the next event now, sometimes you get to the end of the event and you're like, did anything happen? Did that conclude at all? Like, or was it just like a bunch of noise, and then nothing happened? And I think Maximum Carnage is actually satisfying to read, close, and put down. And I think that makes a really good evergreen choice.
I will say, I can't wait till your kid, you're doing this amazing read through with your kid. When you get to Onslaught and she's like,
A matter of months on Omar, we're so close.
She's like, I'm out. I'm done with comics. I need a break. I can't wait for you to like come to me and be like, man, that story did suck. And now my kid's not reading comics again. Okay. Anything? Do you want to add anything to Onslaught? I know you've spoken about it earlier, Peter.
No. We've talked about these other issues for depth. I'm here for maximum Carnage opinions. Maximum Carnage.
All right, Larry, Onslaught, Maximum Carnage. You got anything to add about those? I know how you feel about Secret Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. Carnage and Venom I never got the appeal. I mean, I know it's popular, but just never did it for me.
Never did it for you. Okay.
Yep.
Sean, what about you? Any thoughts on Maximum Carnage as a story, as an event, as an evergreen? More importantly.
Yeah. So earlier, Robbie said he was a fan of my channel. I am a fan of yours as well. I've been subscribed for a very long time. So don't take what I'm about to say personally.
Gosh.
Well, I'm going to take it very personally, bro. I'm about to unsubscribe right now. I got my finger on the button.
I would understand. Look, Maximum Carnage, the video game, had me in a chokehold when I was a kid. I love that red cartridge. It's phenomenal. This was one of the first comics that I was dying to read because of that video game. And when I was a kid, I loved it. I read it back a few years ago for my show, and wow, what a difference a decade makes. I don't think this is even like a good representation of the characters that are in it, except for Carnage. I think it's kind of a weird Peter story. He's in an odd spot. I don't love a lot of the other characters that appear here, the way they're utilized. I just think that there are better Carnage stories. There are better Venom stories. There are better Spider-Man stories. I don't hate it by any means, but I just think that like King in Black is a better story for going for like symbiotes. I think Absolute Carnage is better than this. And then Spider-Man, I think Spider-Verse is a better representation. So that's why I would pass on Maximum Carnage.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to unsubscribe. That's fine.
I appreciate that.
Very kind.
I don't think King in Black is better, but I do think Absolute Carnage is better than King in Black, in my personal opinion.
I agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
You got to remember, this is the second Carnage story. Y'all.
But if you have the King in Black omnibus, I got you covered, baby.
No, I've already read all that stuff. I don't need
But it's got Absolute Carnage in it, though.
Oh, does it? Oh, that's cool. It wasn't enough omnibus to fit or something.
You're damn right. That's cool. All right.
The mapping.
Curtis, what do you think of this?
Maximum Carnage is, my buddy Phil is going to hate me for this, but I actually enjoy Maximum Carnage. And I think I swear a lot of it is the nostalgia. These are some of the first Spider-Man comics that I ever had way back in the day, and it's still, it's still a fun story. It's a much smaller scale than any of these other crossovers, and I think that suits it really well. It has a lot of great characters of the time, and it's still a story that people will want to read. And the fact that they are printing it 3 times in full in 3 different Epic collections, and it's already been reprinted twice in the Spider-Man Epic collections, it means that people are still buying it. It's evergreen whether we like it or not. And I think I'd put it on my list.
I like you, man. I like you a lot.
Okay, everybody likes Curtis. Tyler, thoughts on this?
Yeah, Secret Wars is going to be on the list. Like that one I've talked about. I gotta say, I might have crapped on Onslaught beforehand, but Oddfell and Robbie's enthusiasm about it might have shifted me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying I might give it a chance.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was going to say Maximum Carnage. I've never read it. It looks like it would be the cover looks like it would be on a carnival ride in the middle of nowhere. But if that's the vibe of it, I might want to read it actually. So
I think you should read it.
Yeah. The game is where my Maximum Carnage appreciation is. So maybe that might be one I get to down the line, but I don't really have a take on it in terms of this list.
It's super melodramatic, I'll tell you that. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Anyway. Oddfell, what do you think of the list here?
So I've already kind of commented on the first 2 from other people's lists and then my own. But I've never read Maximum Carnage. I'm kind of keeping in mind other people's opinions on it to see if I would put it in a top 10. And it seems like it is prevalent enough I could see it being on one, but I personally haven't read it. So.
Okay. And Lars, last but not least.
Dun, dun, dun. No, I am least. It's okay to say that I'm least.
Wow.
No. So I am entertained reading online, by the way, that apparently at Universal Marvel Superhero Island, apparently there was a haunted house called Marvel Carnage, in which Carnage was said to have killed all the superheroes who came after him. And certain items were planted to imagine the dead superheroes. It's probably not as gory and scary as I have it in my mind, where like they've dressed up like mannequins of Johnny Storm and just left bodies all over the place.
It was actually.
Oh, did you go?
No, but this is a niche interest that I'm interested in. So I know all about this. Yeah.
All right. It's been a long time since I've read this one. I mean, it's not terrible. I don't think it's evergreen worthy. For me, also, it has a couple strikes in that the moment people start going blah, 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 video game, I don't play the video game. So, if there's any nostalgia to be had there, I don't have it. And Carnage, I don't have a lot of investment in because like Venom became quite a distinct villain. And I always felt like, oh, well, now it's Venom, but he's even more insane. And it's like, okay. I don't think this is bad, but I don't think it's evergreen worthy.
Can I say one thing real quick, Omar? The number 1 book that people come into my shop and ask for that we don't have because it's not in print currently is Maximum Carnage.
Really?
Where do you live, though? You got to throw that into the equation.
I live in Alabama, but that has nothing to do with it.
Who's laughing at that answer? How dare you?
I live in Huntsville, Alabama, which is way different than the rest of Alabama.
Well, if it's Alabama, are you sure they're asking for Maximum Carnage, the comic, and they just don't want to cause it? Trigger it. Sorry.
That's funny.
Easy, Lars.
Well, yeah.
Now comes the time in the show that we all wait for with bated breath. It is the time when we get to roast Omar's picks, which is going to be.
It's the time.
Oh yeah.
You get to agree or disagree with my picks.
No, I believe the word I use is roast.
I have some strong contenders because I kind of figured most people would come in kind of like Robbie, right? Like I was like, oh, okay, everybody's going to put Secret Wars, Infinity Gauntlet. I'm pretty sure Annihilation Conquest will make it. I really thought Inferno was going to make it. Surprised no one picked Inferno.
I didn't think I could.
So. Shut up, Lars.
Well,
quit questioning the rules.
There's a whole half of the omnibus that is anyway. So,
all right.
Omar, with 3 unique picks for Maximum Roastage. I'll start. X-Men Mutant Massacre is not a Marvel event. I don't know who you're joking with. Like, come on,
Thor?
just because
Hello?
Thor
Thor?
wanders into the
Power-
sewers for one
Power Pack?
issue,
Daredevil?
and because Louise Simonson happens to also no, I'm not. I refuse.
I
Wait,
love
wait,
that he
wait,
Marvel
wait,
said
Universe
Power
has
Pack.
nothing to do with what's
Finish
happening
your
in Mutant
sexist
Massacre.
thoughts, because she was married to Walter Simonson. Is that? Go ahead. Is that what you were about to say?
There was a Power Pack tie-in. Come on.
I
Y'all,
am
if
so
you can make
disappointed
the
in you.
case that this is a line-wide event, God bless you. But it's an X-Men story that Omar happens to really love, and it does
I
not
love
belong
this
in
story that has
this
nothing to do with it.
particular list of evergreens. World War Hulk, I don't love it, but I do kind of see the case for it as an evergreen. Like it's a big Hulk story where Hulk is involved with everybody else, and people from the movies like would want to read this. Like MCU fans would like want to be like, oh, there's like an Illuminati and they're all against Hulk, and Hulk just got back from the planet like we saw in Ragnarok, but he's angry and mean. Like I think it's appealing to non-comics readers. I think it's actually less appealing to comics readers. It just doesn't feel that major. Like I feel like Planet Hulk feels more major, and then the Illuminati have done other worse things in other books. So it's kind of like in a weird in-between spot. I see the appeal of having a Hulk event because I think that Hulk doesn't have a whole lot of things that he's doing with the rest of the Marvel universe. I'm just on the fence. And King in Black was pretty damn cool. I can't lie. But as other people have brought up in relation to other books on this stream, it's the end of the Venom run. Like, do you get enough
This is
build
the
up of
omnibus. It's
yeah,
everything,
that's the
baby.
end of the Venom run. So do you get enough build up in the omnibus with like the early
Yes.
stories of King in Black? There's 30 issues of Venom that came before this though, and I just don't
Oh,
I don't know if I'm convinced that it's like
Oh,
wholly satisfying.
I wanted you to put Venom by Donny Cates omnibus. That's okay.
Well, you should have said that.
Well, I kind of thought you could read my mind, Peter. We've known each
Oh,
other
okay.
for years.
Okay. But
This is
that's
kind of
not an
funny 'cause
event,
I
so
have to melt
unfortunately
all
I'm
the
going to
time.
disqualify it. So
What?
you have this one.
All right, fine. I'll own this one. This is a hell of a lot of fun, man. Yeah. You know what?
But
I feel like this is the only Hulk event because you can't use Planet Hulk because that's not really a crossover. And who in the hell remembers Chaos War besides I think me and you and maybe Curtis?
I remember.
Well, let's
Okay,
hear from
there we
Larry.
go.
Larry, tell us
Yeah.
your thoughts on Omar's picks.
Well,
Me? You want my thoughts on my pick? I could.
No,
Yeah.
Larry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Larry.
Okay, I haven't read King in Black. X-Men Mutant Massacre. I mean, it's fine, but I kind of agree with Peter. It doesn't feel like a big
It's
crossover. to
fine.
me. Yeah, it's fine. It's not my favorite X-Men story, but I don't dislike it.
Ouch.
World War Hulk, I can kind of see it, and I think it has a lot of mass appeal. I think that's true. Yeah, so
Thank you,
maybe
Larry.
World War Hulk, but
All right,
just one maybe.
Sean, what are your thoughts on Omar's 3 unique picks?
All right, Omar, look, you're my guy.
Nothing counts before the word but.
I'm not even going to say the word but. I'm going to
Okay.
say that I think Mutant Massacre is sus. That's a sus pick. I know you make the rules, but I don't know about that pick. I don't think that really qualifies. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's got a
Daredevil
power
doesn't
pack in it,
qualify as a
bro.
hero, and neither does Thor or the Power Pack.
They're there, but
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. All right.
World War Hulk. I don't like this event, but I could see for the sake of Hulk representation in the top 10, I could see that making the list. Will it? That'll be decided. King in Black, I think is good. I think it's got incredible art, and I think this is something that people should be able to get in perpetuity. So I would stand by this, especially with the caveat that Venom would be included.
Strong case for King in Black. Curtis, please unmute thyself and tell us what you think about Omar's 3 picks.
Thanks for the reminder. Okay, so Mutant Massacre, I don't think should qualify. Also, for me, an event needs to have some portion of it that takes place not in the main title. So, like Age of Apocalypse counts because of Alpha and Omega bookending it as an event. Mutant Massacre doesn't deliver that at all.
What? Okay, now I'm lost like Lars. Where was that in the rules?
No, maybe it's not in the actual rule. This is just how I perceive an event to be, and so therefore, Mutant Massacre doesn't fall in that in that category. World War Hulk, I would agree. I was almost going to put that one on my list. I really like that story. King of Black. Again, like I said with War of Realms, the end is the cap of a big long run. So I don't think that it should be included as well. I like events that begin and end in the same story. Um, so I would take that one out as well. Interestingly enough, Peter, your argument for King of Black was directly opposite to your argument for War of the Realms. You were saying that one's you could jump into that one no problem, and you could probably do that the same with King in Black.
You absolutely
But I still think that it should not be on the list.
So you're looking for an alpha and omega when it comes to these things. That's what you're saying?
I think that clarifies it as an event rather than just a story in a book.
It's almost like Omar didn't understand the rules.
Larry, do you want to come back, or do you want to?
Oh boy! Before this gets too hot,
We got
Tyler,
here already.
So glad the pressure's off.
Wait,
me.
Tyler, tell us how Omar is wrong. Go
Before
ahead.
Tyler goes, I need to show Curtis something really quick. Curtis, what you're looking at here is a map of the Mutant Massacre, and there are titles that do not include mutants, such as Power Pack and Thor. That's all.
I would call
I really
sort of the branding like Dark Reign.
The branding. It is known as the first. You know what? Go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I just love the lasting effects and consequences that Mutant Massacre had on the Thor mythos and Power Pack's history.
Thank you. Go on.
No, I think logistically it doesn't really fit here. That's just not. It's good, but it's not. It doesn't meet the criteria, in my opinion. Also, I picked Dark Web.
I'm gonna
so
text
what do I
Chris
know?
Claremont's wife and see if his ass is still awake, so he can join the stream. Go ahead, Tyler.
World War Hulk, I think, is a perfect pick. Actually, I think that's like when like somebody who's maybe not into the comics of comics thinks of Hulk. That's one of the things to think about is Hulk in that armor. That's like in every video game. That's a variant to something. There's just a lot of pop culture appeal to armored Hulk, and I think that's just like you see that on a shelf. If you had like top 10 Marvel events, it's probably there. King in Black is rad as hell. I like the way it kind of it closes out Eddie Brock's heroic journey. I don't know if I can say top 10 though.
Dude, you're a hot topic kid. This is hot topic material right here.
That's why I said it was rad. I think it's cool as hell. I think it's some really cool stuff. I think actually maybe with this new movie coming out, people might be picking this book up a little more. But that's just the way people do things. So I'm a fan of this one. So I don't want to crap on it, but it's maybe like an 11. I don't know.
Okay. Odell, what about you, my friend?
Hey, we're friends, you know? We're friends. It's great.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like Mutant Massacre is a crossover, but it's such a microcosm that I wouldn't consider an event on the same scale that we're putting these other events trying to machete down into a 10 list. Like really, it's really just kind of like a small corner of Marvel that this impacts. Like the two crossovers directly deal with the same massacre instead of being something where the thing caused your ripples. Like, right, like Thor's also in the sewers, Power Pack's also in the sewers. This entire thing takes place in a sewer, where these other events, like it's pulling people in, it's cataclysmic, it's big, like we're seeing like mass scale crossovers. So to weigh it on the same scale is hard, even though I adore Mutant Massacre. I don't know if I could put it in a list of some of these other ones. I agree on World War Hulk. I think it is the Hulk event. Like whenever I think of Hulk, this is probably the first book I think of. And then King in Black, I know I'm going to be in the minority here, but like to me, it just felt more like it was trying to capitalize on like the huge edgelord draw that Dark Knight's Metal got for DC more than telling a concise story. And I just don't like Deus Ex Machina endings. And it wasn't for me. I think there's other stories that work better for Spider-Man and Venom.
Okay.
All right, Lars.
All right, I'm going to skip Lars and go right to Robbie.
Think about all the trash.
I have good news. No, I think World War Hulk is an excellent pick.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, because in my head I was like, how much do you? Because I read Planet Hulk and then I read World War Hulk, and I was like, how much do you really need to read Planet Hulk? And I realized probably you don't. If you just understand the Hulk got sent away and he was exiled and he comes back and he's pissed, that's probably enough. So yeah, World War Hulk makes a lot of sense to me. In an event, well, I mean, if we were picking like a great Hulk story, that'd be Future Imperfect. But for a crossover event, sure, that'd be the one. Mutant Massacre, I have mixed feelings about that one because I mean, like Omar, like a lot of X-Men fans, that is a landmark event. I mean, at the time, it was like a shot of adrenaline right to the heart.
So, did you call it a landmark event? I'm sorry, I missed that.
A landmark event, yeah, a landmark.
Okay, just making sure.
Event. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something that etches itself into your brain. Although it's funny, see, I say all of that about kind of the key Mutant Massacre issues themselves. The problem with Mutant Massacre is that it is this thing that's all over the place with Power Pack and X Factor, and it kind of does dilute itself. So it's very historic. It didn't qualify under the rules that I thought. It's very historic, but I always feel like, again, it's less than the sum of its parts. And King in Black, I don't think quite rises to the Evergreen list. Can you put the Mutant Massacre chart up real quick again? That map.
Oh, to remind Curtis that this was an event? Yeah.
No, yeah. Put that. I would. Okay, isn't it funny there? This is like the Mutant Massacre, and yet they're treating it like a kid's playground set.
Because we
it's like all of our friends
Remember,
are dying horribly.
This is like baby.
It looks like Shoots and Ladders.
Okay,
yeah, it looks like Shoots and Ladders.
This is like Shoots and Ladders, right? But it's like a board game. You can play it, right?
Yeah, we didn't have the internet back then, guys. This is what we had. Oh, I don't have to buy X Factor 9, but I want to now. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have.
The map is great. I just find it very atonal compared to.
I didn't know you were going to make fun of it. Lars. Popped it up there. All right, Robbie, what do you got
on your picks?
Yeah, man. What do you got on my picks?
Let me tell you. Let me fucking tell you. Mutant Massacre, I agree. I think it's an event. I think it works. I think it's a big deal. Dude, Angel gets his wings ripped off, dude. This sets up like what will be the apocalypse that we know and love. That whole story of Archangel. Let's be honest. Angel sucks, but Archangel is badass, right? Mutant Massacre gave us the road to Archangel. So I think that's a great pick. World War Hulk. That's a really good pick too. I thought about putting that on my list, but I didn't because I was like, Lars, I agree. I think you're right. Like you can read this book and enjoy it, but I think Planet Hulk is better. And this works.
Probably yes. Yeah.
Like if you can read Planet Hulk and then World War Hulk together, like if that was, how big can they make omnibuses? I don't know, but like if you could do all that in one, that's perfect. That's perfect.
It is kind of odd that they haven't put them together. Yeah,
they should, because like get rid of all the bullshit tie-ins to World War Hulk, and just put like the actual Planet Hulk run and this together, and it works so supremely well.
Well, because I was playing catch up, and so I read Planet Hulk, and then I instantly went and read World War Hulk because of course I did.
Yeah, and it ties in so well at the time with the whole Bendis like direction for the Marvel universe, right? With like dark reign and like leading into sea, like it's like auxiliary to it, but it's still like very much a part of that. If you don't know who the Illuminati are, you can't really fully understand Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, right? But I think that works, and I think that's an evergreen book. I just wish that the two of them would be together. King in Black, Omar, get fucked. Like, I'm sorry. That's like a really, really good end to the Donny Cates Venom run, but an event, it is not. Absolute Carnage was better. It sucks as an event, but it's good as the end of Donny Cates's Venom run. And you know Venom 3 is gonna suck, bro. You just
like
know.
The other two, absolutely.
Yeah, but if they did a movie called Maximum Carnage with Tom Holland, I'm telling you, it's gonna be great.
Omar, I feel soiled on your behalf. That comment wasn't even aimed at me, and wow.
You don't need to add fuel to the fire, Lars.
Well, no.
I got it. That hurt.
Okay.
But that's okay. He had my vote for Maximum Carnage. Now Robbie can, as he said, get fucked. Okay.
Well, when I said it with love, Omar. Heart.
I still love you too, man. All right, Peter.
Get fucked heart.
All right, my friends, the time has come to register your votes. And let me be clear, you do not just have to vote for 10, and you do not have to vote on any criteria but your own. If you hate a book too much to possibly vote for it, that is fine. If you hate a book but still in your heart feel it should be evergreen because Robbie could sell a ton of it at his store, that is also fine. No one is here to legislate your votes, but it is time to make them. So Omar, if you could rewind back to my slide, I went first, so we will vote on mine first. And I'll be friends with all of you, even if you choose maybe one of mine not to vote for. And so with that said, let's begin with Atlantis Attacks. Larry.
No.
All right. Sean.
No with love.
Okay, that's what we like to hear. Curtis.
Muted.
God damn it, Curtis. That's straightforward.
Kick me out right now. No, I say no.
Okay, Tyler.
That's a no for me.
Odell.
No.
Lars.
Peter, we are human beings bound by blood, but no.
Robbie.
No.
Omar.
Peter, I hate you so much. No.
Well, I'm very proud. That might be my first total zero pick I've made on any Evergreen show.
But I like
All
it.
right.
I like it.
Now for War of Kings. Larry.
That's a big yes.
Sean.
No.
Curtis.
Yes.
Tyler.
No.
Odell.
No.
Lars.
Oh, dilemma. No.
Robbie.
No.
And Omar.
I'm gonna say yes. Yeah.
All right,
let's-
finally, my third pick, War of the Realms. Larry.
No.
Sean.
No.
Curtis.
No.
Tyler.
Yes.
Odell.
Yes.
Lars.
I will vote yes.
Robbie.
No.
And Omar.
Hell yeah, man. I like this.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we move on now to Larry's picks. So we'll
Peter, why
start
don't you-
with OG Secret Wars.
Who's voting first, Peter? You or
That would be me. So I'm
Okay.
a big old yes on OG Secret Wars, baby. Sean.
Yes, indeed.
Curtis.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Odell.
Yes.
Lars.
If I'm allowed, I'm gonna abstain.
No, we need a yes or a no. There's no third party votes.
God Almighty! I guess. Oh no.
You can say no. It's
No.
okay.
I guess it'll get through. It'll get through regardless of this. So no.
All right, Robbie already has it as a pick, and Omar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great pick.
Okay. Next up from Larry's picks, Annihilation. That is another big old yes from me. Love that pick. Sean.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Odell.
Yep.
Lars.
Indeed.
Robbie.
Yes.
Omar.
This is your first 100% yes. Yeah, that's a one.
With our first universal pick of the stream, we have Annihilation. Now for the third book from Larry's library, House of M. Not
No.
a favorite of mine, yet I am still a yes on that. Sean.
I'm going to be a yes.
Curtis.
No.
Tyler.
No.
Odell.
No.
Ooh, Lars.
I'm afraid not. No.
Robbie.
No.
Oh, did I miss you? Robbie, what was yours?
No.
No. And Omar.
I can say no, but I can change my vote to yes later. But I don't think that's necessary. But no.
Okay. All right. That's a wrap on Larry. We move on now to Sean's picks, his excellently argued picks, starting with a quite divisive one for us, Civil War. I wish I could abstain for later, but under pressure, and if we're talking about an omnibus and not just the story by itself, I am a yes. Larry.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yep.
Odell.
Yes.
Lars picked it. Robbie
Yes.
and Omar.
I can't let this be universally picked, so I'm going to say no.
Omar. Oh,
Say no.
John.
It's
Throwing a
you.
monkey wrench into it.
You
Wow.
I cannot.
you
My
couldn't give it to me.
Aquarius.
Now to Hickman's Secret Wars. Big old goose egg from Crisis. Larry.
No.
Curtis.
Nope.
Tyler.
Yes.
Odell.
No.
Lars.
I just don't think it's accessible, so no.
Robbie.
Hell to the yeah.
And Omar.
Yes.
Ooh, that one got spicy. All right, and now for the final of these three picks, we talk about, I keep going to the wrong window, Secret Invasion. No for me. Larry.
I love it, but I still have to say no. And I don't think it stands alone very well.
All right, Curtis.
Nope.
Tyler.
Yes.
Odell.
No.
Lars.
I'm sorry. No.
Robbie.
Nope. With no apologies.
And Omar.
You regret nothing.
No.
No. Okay. We are now moving on to Curtis's picks from north of the border, starting with Infinity Gauntlet, which was also picked by Odell, I believe. I'm a yes on that. Larry?
Big yes.
Or no, not Odell. Sorry, that's my mistake. Sean?
I think
Yes.
it's yeah.
Sean?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Tyler?
Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah.
All right. Odell, I'm sorry, you did not pick this. I put words in your mouth. Is it a yes or a no for you?
Yes. I had Spider-Verse
Lo-
though, so I do have a match with Curtis.
Okay. Lars?
I picked it.
Oh, that was the one
yeah,
person.
yeah,
picked.
yeah.
Sorry, off by one. Okay. Robbie
An enthusiastic yes.
and Omar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Second, Universal, yes. Age of Apocalypse, I'm a no because I do not think it qualifies. Larry,
No.
What?
John,
No.
Tyler,
Yes.
Odell,
Yes.
Lars,
No.
Robbie,
Yes.
and Omar.
Yes. Come on, guys. We gotta have
Ooh.
X-Men up there somewhere.
And finally, Spider-Verse, also picked by Odell. If I'm being fair, it also does not qualify, and I'm a no. Larry,
No.
Sean,
Yes.
Tyler,
No.
Lars,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and Omar.
Oh yeah.
All right, we move on to the next set of picks from Tyler. Many found them confounding, but let's see how the votes shake out. Starting with Siege, I'm a big old yes on Siege. Larry,
No.
Sean,
No, sadly.
Curtis,
Nope.
Odell,
No.
Lars,
Mournfully, no.
Robbie,
No.
and Omar.
Eh.
Well, Tyler, I had your back. On to Original Sin, which I am also a yes on. Larry,
No.
Sean,
Nope.
Curtis,
Nope.
Odell,
Yes.
Lars,
I will die on the hill. Yes.
Robbie,
No.
and Omar.
Uh-uh.
And then finally, boy, this should be fun. Dark Web. I'm a no. Larry,
I'm a no.
Sean,
Hell no.
Curtis,
Nope.
Odell,
No.
Lars,
I'm I'm afraid not, no.
Robbie,
I would rather dip my balls in honey on an
Oh.
anthill and watch Original Sin. So
Oh, and go on an anthill. Yes. Okay. Fine.
And finally, Omar.
You know what, man? I got you, Tyler. Yes.
Thank you.
Making sure that Atlantis Attack still has the worst score of everyone. Okay, moving on to the next list
Oh, wow.
is Odell's list.
Oh,
We've already
God.
heard about Spider-Verse, so we're starting with Onslaught. I honestly, Robbie's words moved me to the core of my very soul, so I'm going to vote yes on Onslaught, and a outcome no one could have
It
predicted.
does not take
Larry.
much to move your soul. I mean,
No.
No.
We had
Sean.
Agent Apocalypse.
No,
What's
please don't do this.
Okay, Curtis,
Yes.
Tyler,
Just on sheer known quantity, yes.
Odell's pick,
What?
Larry,
hell
or
is
Lars.
that?
Sorry, Lars,
it's raining in my heart, so I must vote no.
and Omar.
Hell no.
Well, it's
We
got
have
a chance right
Agent
now. We'll see. All right, Empire. Love the gays, don't love the plants. That's a no for me. Larry.
What did the plants
no.
ever do to you?
I'm sorry. What was that, Larry?
No.
No. Sean.
No.
Curtis.
Nope.
Tyler.
Regrettably, no.
Lars.
Soulfully, no.
Robbie.
unabashedly no.
And Omar.
I got you, girl. Yes.
You're just doing this to mess with me now. Okay, let's move on to Lars. So Lars, we've already heard about Infinity Gauntlet and Civil War, so we're just talking about Avengers versus X-Men here. Crisis is a no. Larry. Oh, did I miss it? Larry?
He's muted.
Muted, I think.
Strike one for
How about
Larry.
I got a strike. Yes.
Ooh, Sean.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Wow. Odell.
Yes.
Robbie.
Yes.
And Omar.
Over Age of Apocalypse. What's happening? I'm gonna get this one in there. It's awful. Oh God, it's awful. But it's as awful as Civil War. But yeah, it will sell.
Cats and dogs are living together.
Okay, on to the only unique pick left on Robbie's list, which is the potentially divisive Maximum Carnage. I'm going to go yes. Larry?
No.
Sean?
No.
Curtis?
Yes.
Tyler?
No.
Odell?
Yeah, sure.
Lars?
I'm conflicted, but no.
And Omar?
I don't think Lars is that conflicted. I'm gonna go with yes.
All right, so now we finally come to Omar's picks. Starting with Mutant Massacre, I'm a no. Larry?
No.
Sean?
No.
Hold on before you vote again.
Wait, are we allowed to do that? Hold on a second.
This ridiculous map.
Just in case you forgot. Hey, go on.
Curtis?
No. Nope.
Tyler?
Because the info page came up, I'm actually going to say no.
Odell? Oh, did I miss it? Odell?
No, it's not an event.
Oh, don't you roll your eyes. Oh,
Lars?
I love it though, but it's not.
See, my heart wants to vote yes, but I think my brain has to vote no.
Your brain is
And
stupid.
It is.
Robbie, to
I
round us out here, Robbie.
I listen to my heart over my brain, so yes.
My man.
Oh, almost had a
My
shot.
man.
Almost. World War Hulk, I am a yes. Larry?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Odell?
Yes.
Lars?
Indeed.
And Robbie?
Yep.
An unexpected universal pick. Finally,
Wow.
King in Black. Oh, I wish I could abstain here.
Do I need to show this again?
Oh, no, I'm a no. I'm a no.
That's
not
the
put-
road
put
to
you in a
King in
joyful-
Black right there.
Larry.
Water.
No, I don't think so.
Sean?
Yeah.
Curtis?
No.
Tyler?
Yes, actually.
Odell?
No.
Think of the
Lars.
cosplays, Oddfell, King in Black, baby.
I thought you were screaming. Think of the children. No from me.
And
Lars.
Robbie.
Get fucked. No.
My God.
All right. I'll
Love
give
you,
you some time
crossover.
to tabulate. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Let me.
This has
remove
been fun, right?
this
This has
from
been
chat.
fun.
Very. I'm still shocked
Yeah.
that there's no
Fun.
Inferno. Like that's the biggest
I
one
am
to me.
too.
Like I fully
Well,
banked on one of you bringing
you would
Inferno.
have brought Inferno. I
I
thought you would have
figured
brought
like
Inferno.
you
guessed
and
who was
Jess would
going
bring
to be
Inferno.
here. And at
But
the
look,
very
that's why I
last
went with
moment,
Mutant Massacre, because I'm like, surely Oddfell brought Inferno, and it's gonna be Mutant Massacre versus Inferno, and fucking Lars brought Avengers versus X-Men.
Well,
Oh,
I
I
thought it had to be a crossover between different properties.
Well, and also AVX like sells more than
And
Inferno.
it
Modern
Probably
like, today.
does. I'm guessing
Yeah.
it does sell more than Inferno.
It's just the branding, right? This doesn't
Sure.
mean it's good. Like it's just
No.
oh
it
no,
is
there's a
what it
lot
is,
of
man.
evergreen things that aren't good. Absolutely.
these are books
I
that
thought
we
someone
like. These
would
are
have had,
these are books people demand, right? Right?
yeah.
I,
yeah.
I actually have it on my shelf to reread it because we've been talking about it enough lately. I'm like, I should probably reread this thing. So
I
Just
thought
out of
Annihilation
curiosity,
Conquest
can
would have
we
came up.
what were Jess's picks? Jess couldn't be here because he's under the weather,
Did
but
he
I
give
want to
us
know what
a-
he
Oh,
picked.
Omar, do you want? They're on the final two slides. You just want to go down and show them.
yes, since they're not here to defend themselves, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
These were Omni Dogs. He went with Judgment Day, Secret Wars, and Civil War. So those two probably would have made it in. Do you have Anne's in here too?
It's the next
And
one.
Anne's. Oh, she did bring Inferno. Dang it.
Ah, no.
Hold on a second. Did you say somebody picked Judgment Day?
Leave Jess alone. He's trying.
The best Marvel event. Yeah.
I actually looked at Judgment Day. I really enjoyed Judgment. I thought in Judgment Day was
You
really
also
good.
brought in
What?
AVX,
Yeah.
Lars. You can only bring
Well,
one
I know.
bad story.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Judgment
bring
Day?
in Secret Empire.
Okay.
I was surprised you
Get
did.
Someone
the
would have
fuck out of
brought
here.
in,
Dude. Are you serious?
Hell yeah! I love Secret Empire to death. I think it's tremendous.
Fuck you.
You
You voted
should've.
no on Maximum Carnage, but you will like Secret Empire?
So many
Dude,
F-bombs
listen.
flying
If you
around.
go
Jesus.
listen to my top 5 Marvel events, you will understand why
I don't
Secret
feel like
Empire
I want to right now,
is
Sean.
way better than Maximum Carnage.
Wow.
All right. So yeah, Anne should have been here because she got
Omar,
Inferno, and
these
that
are the
would've
most these are the most F bombs we've ever had. Is that a problem for you, the channel?
Oh no, I have a lot of F bombs on my
Okay,
end.
all right. Okay.
This is Anne's picks, and then Omni Dog's picks are right here: Judgment Day, Secret Wars, and Civil War.
Oh, I've been 2 out of 3 on all of those. Both of those. 2 out of 3.
Anne was bringing
Yeah.
in the madness with Inferno and Spider Island.
Spider.
Spider
I would
Island
be
would have
Inferno up.
Spider Island would have been a hell no from a lot of it. I'm wondering who would have voted for Spider Island out of you all. As an
I
event.
don't know that. Is it an event?
Not
Oh,
It
it
does
did
have a
have
lot
a
of
big
the rest of the
companion.
Marvel
Spider
universe.
event.
it's got the thing on the cover, so
It had that. Actually, it's got some beautiful artwork in
Cloak and
there.
Dagger. It looks like an event.
It
It's
is
an
an
event. It's
Yeah.
a spider event, but just like Spider Verse and Maximum Carnage.
No, it has
got-
the
it's got
Guardians
other-
of the Dragon.
but it's got-
It has
Yeah, it's got
Iron Fist.
miniseries.
Yeah, Spider Island is an event, but I don't like it. But the other 2 I would have voted for sure.
See my boy James already knowing exactly. Thank you, James, our forever oracle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Working
Anne's
as
got.
fast as my little fingers can carry me. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, but,
And then-
man, I'm just gonna say this real quick, like hot take, but like DC's got better events than Marvel. I'm just
Well, I think that's actually that's a fair statement.
I think that
Yeah.
is too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heroes in Crisis is really good.
Okay, you can go to hell. Who
you
said
can
that?
get fucked,
Where's Robbie? Robbie, tell him what he
I
can go
love, I
do.
love how that's where
get
your mind
fucked,
went.
man.
Night Terrors, hello? What are we talking about?
Wow.
Bro,
Well, I
Night
guess I
Terrors,
know
you're
who
gonna
the
bring
cast
Night
is gonna be
Terrors
for the
into
DC
this?
event.
That's
Come
the
on.
worst event, bar none, right?
You cannot be like one event from 2 years ago sucked. So I mean, Crisis on Infinite Earths is the event of all events, man. That's like
It's
the
mid.
best comic book event.
Infinite Crisis, and I would say Final Crisis, Flash.
I would say Blackest Night, right?
Omar,
Blackest
A lot of
Night.
people
Yeah,
like Black
I would
Omar,
say.
can you explain to me what happened in Final Crisis?
Yeah, I can. It will take 3 hours, but dude, you want to do a show? Let's
And
do
graphs.
it. man.
Let's do
So
it.
many graphs.
I've been
I'll tell you
dying
all,
to meet someone.
You
who can
reach out to
explain
me, man. We'll do a Final Crisis
many ti-
explained 3-hour stream. It'll be great.
Yeah, I can get my buddy Alex on that too. How many times have you read it? Real talk, Sean.
3 times.
You've read it 3 times. I'll be
That's not
honest with you.
enough.
I've read it 6 times. But I tell you what, and this is the thing about Morrison, right? Especially when Morrison is, as the kids say these days, cooking. When Morrison is in Morrison, like, oh my God, level of storytelling, there's a lot of homework that needs to be done. That's why they released that one trade paperback. What was it called, Robbie? It was like
You talking about Batman's Black Casebook?
Black Casebook.
Oh,
Yeah.
which is so good. So much fun.
Like it tells you what stories to read to get ready for RIP and then eventually the Final Crisis. What really needs to be read is Fourth World by Jack Kirby, and I think the Seven Soldiers. I thought Seven Soldiers was a great lead up to that.
Seven Soldiers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's hard to be like, go and read Final
Crisis. If we
Crisis.
were doing this list for DC, Omar, I would not put Final Crisis.
Yeah, Final Crisis is hard because there's so much reading to do beforehand. It's almost like too much homework. It's almost like what you guys were arguing about Hickman, right? Like Hickman Secret Wars was like, no, there's a lot of prior reading to that, but I don't think as much as like Final Crisis. Final Crisis really requires a lot of prior reading, whereas Secret Wars, you know, take it or leave it. Like, you don't have to.
Well, they both require like 4 years worth of reading, regardless of the era that you're reading from, right? But like, I get what you're saying 100%. You got to, like, Final Crisis is actually part of the Batman run that Grant was doing, right? Like, you know, like you can't talk about his Batman run or their Batman run without talking about Final Crisis. So it's like this weird thing, and it doesn't always mash up so well, but Grant Morrison's my favorite writer, no matter what the genre or medium is. So I will always pick up Grant.
I gotta ask because I'm always curious. Like, what's your favorite like Grant Morrison? If you were to give me your top 3 Grant Morrison, do you like more like
my top 3 Grant Morrison comics? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, Invisibles, or do you like more grounded stuff like Claws?
Because number one is Invisibles. Number one is Invisibles. Invisibles like changed my life. Invisibles is still changing my life.
But Invisible, like reading Invisibles feels like getting your brain screwed by a rusty nail.
Yeah. I would say Invisibles. I would say Invisibles, Doom Patrol.
Yeah, Doom Patrol.
Solid.
And then his JLA run. Like Grant's JLA run is to me like Sunday school. Like super mythology, but like really easily packed in, right? For like the easy to understand. Right. So it's like, I think the way you should go if you're new to Grant Morrison's work is JLA, Doom Patrol, Invisibles, and then hopefully your life will change. You'll change the world. So there you go.
And then you won't be so sad.
Oh, and All-Star Superman. I can't forget that. Yeah. That's my favorite Superman story is All-Star Superman. So
yeah, me too.
I think
it's my favorite.
Claws.
It's hard. Yeah. Claws. I love Claws too. And that's so normal Grant Morrison, right? But I also love Invisibles.
And Animal Man.
Animal Man to me is like was a game changer for comics.
Yeah.
We're ready to show our maybe. Okay, we got a little bit of voting to do here between us and the chat.
Don't, please, God, no.
Okay, the ones that for sure made it in are Annihilation, Infinity Gauntlet, and surprisingly World War Hulk. The ones that are What are these here, Peter? What's going on here? Because
they're all so everything that made it in. You happen to see 11 because the final 4 there: Onslaught, War of the Realms, Age of Apocalypse, and Maximum Carnage, all were tied. So there's we instead of 10, we wound up with 11.
Okay, so what we need to do here is make up our mind and see which one gets voted out.
Oh my gosh.
So we should all vote for the one to get voted out and see who gets the most votes. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, pretty much. And then we'll let the chat vote for the bring in something in. I can't remember how do we do that. So yeah, Peter, what are you kicking out?
I kick out Age of Apocalypse because it is not qualified. I hate it. No, bad. As a collection. Love the story. I don't think it's collected well.
Really? You? Oh man, you're a monster. Okay, Larry. That's strike 2, Larry. That's strike 2, Larry.
Okay, so which ones are in contention?
So these are the ones Universal picks. Those are good.
All the ones on the bottom?
Well, the ones on the bottom
are Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah. These down
Age of
here.
Apocalypse.
Those 4.
You didn't have to say Age of Apocalypse there, Lars. Why'd you say that
Well,
first? That you're using it as an example?
It was
Some
on the far-
psychology you're
it was
using
on the far right.
Larry. Okay, I see you there. Sean, which of
Wait,
these
which did Larry kick out?
Apocalypse.
My
popped for
God.
some
All right.
reason? All right.
What's happening to you?
Sean, let me explain to you which ones are. You can kick any of these out like Civil War if you want to. There we go.
Yeah, because I'll do
Anything not in the universal picks is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, no, you
the-
can't mess with the universal
4
picks.
Oh my
Those
gosh,
are
I should have put another
No,
box.
no, just the bottom
The
4.
4 on the
There's
bottom
5
right.
down there, though.
Onslaught,
I know.
War of the Realms, Maximum Carnage, and Age of Apocalypse are all tied at 5 votes.
Yeah, you should have added more dotted lines, yo, for sure.
Okay, so
And we've
Onslaught,
never
War of the
had this
Realms.
situation before. Anyway,
I'm good with
Sean,
my
what are you
pick.
kicking out?
So purely off of what I believe will sell the most, I think War of the Realms has to go because all those other ones will sell like hotcakes.
Okay. Curtis, what are you kicking out?
War of the Realms is the only one of those 4 that I voted no for, so I'm gonna keep that.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep that vote as no.
Tyler, what are you kicking out?
I'm gonna have to go with Maximum Carnage on this one.
My God.
Fuck you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Odell, what are you kicking out?
Maximum Carnage.
Oh my God, you guys! What are we doing? What are we doing? Why
I
aren't you
don't
kicking out
know.
the right one?
Lars, what are you kicking out?
We cannot have Onslaught on the final list. If we do, Omar and
Thank
I
you,
might have to
Lars.
commit ritual suicide.
Okay, don't put me in that damn
well-
category. I'm not gonna kill
Okay.
myself, but I'm gonna be
Alright.
angry.
It's gotta be
All
Onslaught.
right, Robbie, what are you kicking out?
War of the Realms.
Oh my God.
And
Wait.
Omar, what are you kicking out?
Absolutely Onslaught all day, every day.
Well, unfortunately, War of the Realms had 3 kickouts, so that is the
My
one that we have
God.
lost.
Yes.
What is happening to us?
Oddfell, what have you done? This
You've
is
grown
you.
up. is
I'm
what's
sorry,
happened, Omar.
I'm right.
I'm sorry, I'm
you
right.
you are frequently right. That is correct. Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay.
I come in with the spicy takes.
Yeah, you and Robbie with the freaking Onslaught, man.
Because Onslaught rocks, dude. All right, like whatever.
Maximum.
Look at this
Carnage
cool big
story.
boy. Like, he's cool, okay?
No, he's got
I
a
want that
costume.
so
Rad.
bad.
He looks
Magneto
like Magneto, but he's
steroids.
not. And the toy
I know he's
line.
like buff Magneto. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And Franklin's in the back of him. If you get the toy, like Franklin's in the back, it's so
From-
cool.
Wait.
From memory, they seem a bit slow to realize this. They seem a bit slow to realize, well, he's like Magneto. Well, yeah.
If you get the
cannot-
90s toy, he's
All right.
Franklin's in the back.
So, Peter,
It's just
do us
the build-up
honor.
figure, so just the weird shield.
What are the final choices from us, and then we'll move on to the chat. And let them
That's
vote.
it, my friends. So our final votes of what should be this is a chaos, pure chaos. It indeed was a chaos war, even though no one picked it. Our final picks for what ought to be evergreen in an oversized collection from Marvel are: everybody agreed on Annihilation, Infinity Gauntlet, and World War Hulk. Then the panel was split, but largely positive. Actually, only one vote against Secret Wars and Civil War, I believe. And then largely positive with some dissent about Spider-Verse, AVX, Onslaught, Maximum Carnage, and Age of Apocalypse. They are our 10 evergreen Marvel events.
Okay, now I need to hear from the chat. What is the one book we left out? And I think I can only put 4 choices for everybody to go and vote on, including us.
Well, it's wild that nobody had Annihilation Conquest.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can add.
Because we had Annihilation, though. I mean,
Let me know what to add. I can add 4. You all keep
Evolution.
Also, I
Visionary War.
cannot believe some of you people picked these things over War of Kings.
yeah.
Oh, me too. I voted for
Yeah.
War.
It's
All
on
right.
site with some of you.
It's just
I'm
Peter, it's
gonna
just
vote
stale. That's
Inferno
all.
for the chat vote.
Can you all keep an eye on the chat, see what they're saying?
Let's see.
I see a lot of Hickman love out there for Secret Wars.
Who said gang war?
Inferno. I see a lot of
I
Inferno.
saw that one.
Wait, the Secret Wars
Evolutionary War.
25th
A lot of people have been saying Evolutionary War.
Hickman
over
Secret
the course of
Really?
the stream.
Hickman
Yeah.
Secret Wars.
Okay, I'm gonna go with X-Men Inferno. That's what people said.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I saw
Yeah,
some
a
Star
lot of
Wars
Inferno.
trailer.
I can only put
A lot of Inferno.
Oh yeah, fascinatingly, no one picked Avengers versus JLA.
I'm gonna put Secret Wars 2015 since somebody keeps mentioning that. Is it just one person or is it more than one person?
That's a lot. You guys
Okay.
were wrong on it. That's all.
Kang
I
Dynasty
voted
is
for
just
it.
Avengers.
You were right.
Kang Dynasty is just Avengers, by the way. I see that out there in the chat. So
Okay.
Yeah, single title. Doesn't follow the rules.
So far I have X-Men Inferno and Secret Wars 2015. And I
A
got
couple people say Shadowland. I don't know if
Shadowland?
that's
Yeah, that's a crossover.
a handful.
it's a bad
That's
story, but
wild.
that's okay.
I saw some Evolutionary Wars out
Does
there.
anybody want to add Dark Web again?
No.
Dark Web.
Seeing some
Who said
support
that?
Act,
There-
seeing some support.
There was
for
like-
Can we
Evolutionary
pick the
War.
worst pick of the night? I
There was
think
like
Dark
one-
Web might win that one.
Yeah, there was like one Evolutionary War.
I see a lot of Judgment Day.
Look, I see somebody wanting King in Black back in there,
King
baby.
of Black, yeah.
Yeah.
King of
All
Black.
right. Shit, make my pick go back in there. King in Black. Okay.
Shadowland again.
Okay, so I got X-Men Inferno, Secret Wars, King in Black, and I got one more. What is it going to be? You all make the call.
Judgment Day.
Conquest.
Yeah, I think it's Judgment Day.
Judgment Day over Conquest? Okay.
Ooh, I don't know. I love them both a lot.
I'm not talking about you, Peter. You already had your moment. I'm talking about the chat.
Do we
What
have
they
enough to do 4? Do we have enough
Yeah.
to do 4 that weren't involved in the ones that we picked?
God. Yes, Odell.
Listen,
so
it's
what-
a diplomatic
what-
answer.
What would it be then? Because then I can take off King in Black and Secret Wars 2015.
Evolutionary War.
Oh
Judgment
God!
Day.
really?
No, not that
Conquest.
many people are saying Evolutionary War.
2 people said it. I'll
two.
I'll type it in if I need to.
I mean, if we don't have
Wait,
4
hold on,
without
hold
that,
on.
then we can do what we got.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
I just didn't know
put
if we had
Judgment-
enough.
Okay, so I got X-Men Inferno, Judgment Day, Evolutionary War,
Shadowland.
and what else?
Shadowland.
Shadowland?
Oh
Well, that's
my
what they're
God.
saying. Well, that's what they're saying.
I can't believe any of these are going to make it. Maybe
I'm not
X-Men
saying,
Inferno.
I'm not saying it's
Over-
good. I'm
All right, everybody.
with
What
them
book
what they
should
want.
be added to the final top 11? Go and vote, including us. We can go and vote on your phones or whatever you're watching this on. Wow. I can't believe these are going to get picked over King in Black. I misspelled Shadowland too because it's that bad.
I cannot believe we're even. I mean, I like Shadow as a Shadowland apologist. I cannot believe that Shadowland is on this list.
I'm in the same boat. I actually
first
like it,
issue
but
is
it doesn't
really
belong
good.
here.
Yeah, the first
Shadowland
issue is
is-
really
We
good.
could,
The rest suck.
We could have them vote on the ones we kicked out too, because we had 2 that were on there. It was King and Black,
Oh,
and
no,
what was
that-
the other one?
That ship has sailed according to you. You were like, well,
No.
Well,
I thought
no,
we were
I'm saying,
2
like-
polls. There's one poll for the chat vote and
All
one.
right,
vote for
this
the
is
kick-out.
okay.
So the kick out vote.
Give them a
would
chance
be-
to pick between the 2 that we've kicked.
Okay, that's a good idea, Omar. Thank you.
Okay, just
All right.
2.
Well, I don't
yeah.
know. However many, I don't know.
Well, how many-
I'm just
how-
offering
how about you-
suggestions.
Hold on. However many of mine were kicked out, right? Which is King in Black and Mutant Massacre. Yeah, of course I can let them vote on that. How did
So
Massive
definitely Hickman Secret
count?
Wars.
It only included Spidey books. Didn't have an Alpha and Omega issue. Curtis. No, it did. It did have it kicked off in Spider-Man Unlimited.
Spider-Man Unlimited
Yeah.
and 1 and 2 are the bookends.
It's because
I mean,
it had Captain America and Deathlock and Cloak and Dagger and the New
Yeah.
Warriors in it. That's
Yeah.
why.
The New Warriors. That's how you get. I'm gonna leave it up for one more minute, and then I'm gonna let the chat decide on the one that was kicked out by the panel.
And Robbie, that was the New Warriors before they killed a school, right?
That is true.
But no,
And even though that book got
the
put
real New
in-
Warriors did not kill any school.
Well, they only include 2 of the New Warriors, but yo, my boy Night Thrasher's an Avenger now. So that's
Dude,
pretty
I
good.
saw
Yo,
that.
I'm
My
hyped for
friend
that.
texted me. I was like, what? He's like, you're never gonna believe. Well, I thought he was messing with me. He was like, you're never gonna believe who they made it to an Avenger, and I'm like, who? Squirrel Girl again?
I'm just gonna say
Or
Night Thrasher's in my top 5 Marvel characters of all time. I
Hell
love
yeah.
Night. His
Yeah.
first appearance, he shows up to a fight with the Juggernaut with just a skateboard, man. Like who else has the balls to do that?
That's so badass. Now that's hot topic edgy.
Yes,
All
it
right.
is.
We got 79 votes. I'm gonna leave it up for one more minute and then call it. And then we're gonna put the 3 that were kicked out and Peter's got that list for me ready. So and make sure you hit that like button too while you're here, please.
That Devil's
mean-
Reign shout is pretty interesting.
I'm surprised nobody's saying bring back Dark Web.
Devil's Reign is the same thing as we've been
Same.
talking. Like there's so many of these events that are like really good endings of a run Like Devil's Reign is a great ending to the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil run, but it's not a good event for Marvel as a whole, right?
It's fun.
Would it even fit the criteria for this?
Yeah,
It would, because it had like tie-ins with like other characters and stuff, but like I don't know. It's like I'm talking about impact. You know what I'm saying? Like Onslaught impacted the Marvel universe. It brought in Rob Liefeld to do Captain America. So.
I was the only one,
and I like that run.
Dark Web besides Tyler, who brought it to the panel.
You're just being nice. Dark Web sucks, man.
You can't be putting Marco, the third comics pal, on the screen like that. He didn't even show up.
He wasn't invited.
Oh, true,
you guys said he wasn't smart enough to be on.
Well, he's not a Marvel guy. If it was like Vertigo,
I'm sorry. I
Marvel
misunderstood
baby.
what you said. I'm sorry. I thought you said something else. I'm just trying to strike up drama in the comics pal.
There's a lot of it. Don't worry.
There's already a lot of it.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm voting for Dark Web. Who said that? JJ. All right. I am ending it now. Thank you all for voting. And the winner is, oh my gosh, almost by a landslide, X-Men Inferno, and would have been right. I wonder how well it would have performed here. It would have probably kicked out either AVX or Onslaught or
it would have kicked out Maximum Carnage. Let's be honest.
Okay, that's almost. I love X-Men, but that's way too many X-Men events. I know they'll sell though. Okay, now my friends have said that you all need to vote for. We got one more poll, and that is what book that was kicked off. What was the question again?
We had a couple of different ones we had on the list. Yeah.
What event should not have been kicked off? Have been kicked off. Can
The answer to that one is Secret Wars 2015.
All right, what do we got?
Yes,
Peter's got the actual answers. Peter, what we got?
So the ones that were the closest and just missed were War of Kings, Hickman Secret Wars, House of M, King in Black, and Original Sin. But I feel like the chat's not going to fight for Original Sin as hard as the other four.
We will let them
we should stick with the other four.
We will let them decide. Wait.
Well, that's 5. So.
Oh, I can only do 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got War King, Secret Wars, and what else?
House of M and King in Black.
House of
Secret Wars, y'all. Come on.
You know it's going to win.
You guys did Secret Wars dirty on the panel. You guys did it dirty.
Tell me, do you have an Infinity Gauntlet now? I mean, come on, y'all. That moment alone. Or when Dr. Doom goes up to the Phoenix-infested Cyclops and he goes, "Your dream is dead." Come on, y'all. That's the best Dr. Doom story ever.
All right, everybody, go and vote.
If you like Dr. Doom, vote for Secret Wars.
All right, what event should not have been kicked off by the panel? And
if you don't vote for Secret Wars, you don't like Dr. Doom. So think about that before you.
Wait a second. King in Black is the winner.
What? Yeah, what?
How did that get?
What in the voter fraud is going on here?
I'm campaigning. It's great.
I needed to remind people about the mapping of the Mutant Massacre again.
Collusion, recount.
If you don't vote for Dr. Doom and Secret Wars, Dr. Doom will show up and start eating your cats and dogs. That's what's going to happen. So
my heart says War Kings. My brain says House of M. Oh, God. How is this going to turn?
It's a landslide.
Well, I don't know about a landslide. It's doing okay.
53% is a freaking landslide.
I know math, Sean. Just give it a minute. Hold on a second.
I don't know math.
You know, you always see those early returns and hope that it's going to turn around when you get to the later returns, but it's so seldom happens.
I don't like Doom. Of course. Warren, what the hell do you like? You're giving Kentucky such a bad name. House of M is responsible for pretty much all modern day. Wow, that is a statement.
Yeah, I actually one of the few people I think who enjoyed the Doom storyline to follow Secret Wars, which is where Secret Wars, because it didn't work out for him, he sort of tried being a hero, and the idea was, you know, the people around him were like, "Wait a minute, being a villain went so badly for you. You're like, well, I've got nothing to lose to try heroism." He's like, "Sure, yeah, that's it," which I thought was an interesting angle.
Infamous Iron Man.
People hated it. People
it was Bendis too, right?
It was Bendis. I thought it was quite interesting. You're like, Dr. Doom's not going to be like this forever. People hated that angle. Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I just hated when they made him eat potato chips. Dr. Doom does not eat potato chips, man.
Is he more of a Cheetos with chopsticks person?
Yes, he is.
Oh my god, he is though. Wait.
I mean, he is though. Like, I'm not even lying, dude. Dr. Doom will not just open up a bag of Lay's potato chips and start eating them and talking to someone. I'm just saying. Nose or no nose. It doesn't
Some
matter.
poor Latvarian has to hand fry them.
Warren is my he's my hot topic of the chat. House of M tie-ins is not needed. No, House of M is not needed. Doom would eat Pringles.
He would,
All
but
right.
those are technically crisps. So
I think I'm
I
gonna
feel like
call
you would
it.
have someone like hand feed him Talkies.
All right. Well, I'm
the
gonna
rolled
leave it.
Takis. He's
I
just
feel like I can call it now. I feel like I can call it now and end the voting early. Has everybody in the panel voted already?
Yes.
Larry?
Sir.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I don't know why I said your name. I was just trying to get everybody's attention. You're the first eyes I made eye contact with. All right, then I'm ending it. All right, let me see. Peter, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Already
this
updated, my friend. Hit reload.
All right, hold on a second. I'm gonna tell you the results, and by a landslide is King and Black. Oh, and Mutant Massacre. Both of them.
Oh
They're back.
wow! Look at that.
That's
Remarkable.
awesome.
It's rigged.
all these potato chip eaters, man.
All right. Oddfell, do us the honor. Read off the list, please. What is the final top 12? Top 12, because we let the chat.
So
chat.
we've got Annihilation, Infinity Gauntlet, World War Hulk, Secret Wars, Spider-Verse, AVX, Onslaught, Maximum Carnage, Age of Apocalypse, X-Men, Civil War, Secret Wars 2015, and X-Men Inferno.
Awesome. Tyler,
Who on this list?
Did any of yours make it on the list, Tyler?
I think Dark Web might be behind. I think it's a layering thing, whatever program you're using. I think it's behind one of those.
It's okay. You came in with some strong opinions. They were the wrong ones, but you came in with strong opinions.
That's how I live life.
You were the underdog. I like that about you.
Thank you.
Very, very good. You stuck to your guns, too. You did not apologize. Oddfell, how many of yours made it on the list?
2.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Peter, how about you, my friend?
This may be my first ever shutout on an Evergreen show.
You had nothing.
Three?
Nothing from yours.
Nothing. Because you all kicked out War of the Realms.
I voted for it. I said yes. remember?
I didn't.
I also voted for it.
The
Yeah,
tribe spoke.
Yeah, we're your true friends. Remember that next time.
I kicked it out.
I was there for you. I want you to know this. Yeah.
Well, I'm always and it looks like we have 2 Secret Wars. We have 4 X-Men centric events. That makes sense. So
Can you tell we
X-Men
have preference?
I mean, X-Men sells though. There's no denying
It does. It does.
it sells no matter what. Even like people that are laughing at like whatever silly, even I swear to God, Dark Web, people are like, oh, it's the worst event. Well, that stupid omnibus will go out of print, and then 3 years later, I'm going to be having like the poll, and people are going to be voting for that because everybody laughed at the Clone Saga when it was announced, and they went out of print, and they voted for it to come back to print, which just is insane to me.
I'm ahead of the curve.
But I don't know about that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Who went 3 for 3?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Curtis did. Okay.
Curtis played it really safe. Good job, Curtis.
Well, the bitter irony is that for all my protestations, there was a wrong list. All of them got through. So I guess that worked.
Well done.
Lars.
To be fair, if I'd shuffled the list, I would have gone for Annihilation or Spider-Verse, and those landed on as well. So
Good job, Curtis. You win the no prize today, my friend. Robbie, how did you do, buddy? You got your Maximum Carnage.
3 for 3, man. I did 3 for 3.
Did you really?
Secret
good
Wars,
job.
Maximum Carnage, and Onslaught. So yeah.
Oh, and you were begging people and paying people in the chat to vote for Secret Wars too.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
how you
because
get
I know
done.
how to campaign. I've done this before. I'm a multi-award winner. I know what to do. So it's all-
I love it. Yes.
Wait, I should have been banging the chat to get my votes?
yeah, dude.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
Are we going to do this for DC events? We absolutely will. This is a lot of fun. My gosh. It's a lot of fun, and I just want to thank my panel for being here and putting up with the chaos that reigned. Thank you all. This was a lot of fun. I needed this tonight, and I hope everybody
so
watching
fun.
enjoyed it. And thank you for bringing all kinds of thoughts and opinions tonight, as wrong as some of those were. And, you know, some of them I agree with. And I can't believe we have X-Men Onslaught as an evergreen. How did that happen?
People will
Because
buy it.
Onslaught rocks. Right? It does.
Who voted yes for Onslaught out of curiosity? Raise your hand if you voted yes.
Robbie got to me.
Robbie, wait. Hold your hand up.
Were you? Did you feel seduced?
All right. Hold your hand up if you voted Onslaught, please.
God.
Thank you so much. Okay, I saw that. You're out of here. The three of us are this. Wait, Larry, did you vote for Onslaught too?
No.
You bet your ass you didn't. That's why you're still here. All right. I'm just kidding. Thank you, everybody, for playing along. That was great. There's that 9 of us. All right. That's it. We brought you 3 hours of entertainment and pure madness. I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. We do these evergreen videos once a month. It's a lot of fun. And I was glad to see Oddfell back. I know she's had a busy season. You were missed, my friend.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Thank you.
Well, good. Before we go and sign off tonight, though, I do want to let everybody have a chance to talk a little bit about themselves and where you can find them. So we'll start with Larry. Larry, moving on to Lars and then Curtis and then Tyler. Go ahead, Larry. Right. Where can people find you?
It's Larry's Library on YouTube and also on Instagram, but I don't do much there. But
okay, Larry's Library on YouTube. Thank you for that, James Abel. Lars, what about you, buddy?
Lars Pearson, I am at madnorwegian.com, and when I am not blathering about comic books, I am off blathering about Doctor Who. And with Lance Parkin, I co-write the definitive Doctor Who timeline, A History, and we also publish Doctor Who About Time, which puts every Doctor Who story in the political and social context in which it was made.
Oddfell perpetually shows up to ruin the show, and it's better for it. Thank you.
Always better.
I agree.
Yeah.
Madness.
I'm
Curtis,
really chaos.
Where can people find you?
Epic Marvel Podcast. You can also, I'm trying to start up a few different socials for a DC Finest centric social media. You can look up the Finest DC channel, and we'll see if I can get that going.
Curtis,
throw James for a loop. He doesn't have those links ready.
You can't just be making up channels on the spot. Look at freaking James is already on top.
Oh, look at that!
Hey, look at that!
Wow.
No one's faster than James.
James is amazing.
Tyler, what about you, buddy? Where can people find you?
Oh, usually Sean does the plugs. You can follow us at the Comics Pals on YouTube, Instagram, X, if that's what it's called now, TikTok, everywhere. We have a great Discord. You can jump in that. We do shows on Thursdays and Saturdays, so always check that out. You can follow me at the Tyler Olson everywhere else too.
Okay, and Oddfell.
Hello, I am Oddfell on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, with all kinds of cosplay-related content. And then over here on YouTube, I do toy and statue videos, the occasional comic video, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, and I'll be at an Uncanny Experience September 20th and 29th. So if you're there, say hi.
Okay, there's Oddfell's Instagram and her YouTube. Thank you for that, James. Rockin' Robbie, what's up, dude?
Yo, find me on Pop Culture Philosophers here on YouTube. Go sub up. It's the home of the best weekly comic book review of all time. So check that out. And if you love movie reviews that are longer than the movie itself, check out PCP Movie Night. That's what we do. So thank you for having me, Omar. I've loved this. And everybody else here, y'all are great. Thank you so much.
You're gonna tell them to go F off too.
No, for real. I love shit talking and I love being real. And y'all absolutely rock. This was a great panel.
Oh, thank you, man. You're always welcome back, brother. And Sean, who are you, man? You and Tyler, you all hang out together.
Yes, so we're the Comics Pals. Thursdays and Saturdays, we go live Thursdays at 6 p.m., Saturdays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. This Saturday, we're going to be talking about the New 52. We are in a New 52 deep dive right now. So if you're interested in the history of comics and sort of how all that stuff came together, I'm going to tell you about the good, the bad, and the didio of the New 52. So come hang out for that. It's been a pleasure. You guys are amazing. Thank you for inviting me. I love this show. So it's crazy for me to have been here. Really appreciate it.
Well, you guys are always welcome back, especially Tyler with his hot takes.
Yeah,
Hot-
even
And
things
y'all
out
better
at the
give some
bottom.
good love to Wonder Woman in the New 52. Just so you know.
Oh,
If you
don't worry.
I'm
Don't worry.
coming after you. So-
Robbie, it's the only absolute edition I have. So
Last but certainly not least, I am the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Just kidding, Peter. Where can
Oh.
people find you?
I am Crisis with a K on the comic reading internet. My website, crushingcrisis.com, has been around longer than some of you may have been alive. It has guides to how to collect the vast majority of the Marvel Universe and all of its characters in a reading order, and along with figuring out where the collected editions are that you want to read that in. Also, I am on Twitter talking comic book nonsense at Crushing Comics, all spelt the proper way. And of course, I will be back here on Near Mint Condition for more evergreens and for our monthly solicits shows. Always a pleasure. So much fun to get to stream with the Comics Pals and with Rock and Robbie. I think we made it one of my favorite evergreen shows of all time. Just I had a blast, and you all know that this is the joy of my week, month, year. Whenever I get to come on and argue comics with you all. So much love to the whole panel.
One day you'll have to do the evergreen shows.
We'll have we got to build up that.
Odell just went.
Got to build up that. Peter.
No,
Peter
but
has
wait,
some
that would be
really-
such a fun fight.
all the ones that I'm on. Yes. Peter had some really good ideas for evergreen episodes. So, I love inviting different people on and just getting to argue with different people. It's a blast. So because everybody comes in from, different experiences when it comes to comics and what they've read, what they're nostalgic for. And yeah, I just love learning that side of people, like what they come in with. So this is always a blast. It's one of my absolute favorite segments we have on the channel. And I love I wish I could do it more often, but it's just, it takes a little bit of time to prepare and you have everybody to come together. But I think once a month is pretty good. It gives us enough time to gather our thoughts about the next one, which I think it's independent superheroes, something like that is what we were thinking. We will let you all know.
Hellboy #1, Madman #2.
Although October is right around the corner, just saying.
So you think it should be something spooky?
Oh, I was
Horror
going
comedy?
for.
Evergreen horror comics? That'd be great.
Oh man, there's so many good ones too.
Dark Web's
that
kind
would
of spooky.
That would be fun. Lots of great anthologies out there. But we'll think on it. But and somehow, yes, Phoenix will end up making it on the horror list for some
It was scary when those broccoli people died.
Yes. Terrifying.
I was so scared.
Shut up. Everybody, thank you for watching. Hit that like button on the way out. We are out of here. Bye-bye.